Have you ever lain awake at night, your mind a whirlwind of thoughts, desperately craving silence that seems forever out of reach? Imagine unlocking ancient Buddhist secrets that transform restless nights into profound peace, where sleep arrives not by force, but by gentle surrender. What if the key to silencing inner noise wasn't another sleep hack, but timeless practices that monks have used for millennia to heal the mind and invite deep, healing rest? Foundations of mental stillness, understanding mental noise, and the promise of equanimity. Mental noise is that relentless chatter that plagues so many nights, turning what should be a time of rest into a battlefield of worries, regrets, and endless what-ifs. As described in the document, it's like lying in a quiet room where the world outside is still, but inside your head, thoughts roar louder than ever. This noise isn't merely a nuisance. It's a deep-seated struggle rooted in the mind's need for control, craving for sleep, and aversion to the present moment. The body may be tired, the pillow adjusted perfectly, yet sleep eludes because the real issue is mental clinging to outcomes, fearing tiredness the next day, and resisting the flow of thoughts. This creates a cycle of agitation where even the innocent hope of falling asleep soon plants seeds of tension. The harder one grasps for rest, the more it slips away, building pressure that keeps the nervous system on high alert. The document draws from ancient Buddhist psychology, particularly the Bainham, to introduce equanimity or pechka papaya as the antidote. This isn't cold detachment or apathy. It's a balanced, gentle awareness that neither clings nor pushes away. Equanimity acts as a foundational mental condition, like fertile soil supporting wholesome states without being visible itself. In the context of sleep, it shifts the relationship from striving to simply being, replacing urgency with patience and grasping with letting go. By fostering this mindset, one creates space where sleep can emerge naturally, not forced, but unobstructed. The promise is profound. Nights transform from battles to peaceful unfoldings, where even if sleep doesn't come immediately, there's no anxiety because the mind trusts the process. To cultivate this, start by understanding that equanimity isn't chosen in a moment, but built through consistent habits. Change how you relate to nighttime thoughts instead of getting entangled or shutting them down. Observe them as passing events, like wind through trees or clouds in the sky. Acknowledge a worry like, "What if I can't sleep?" without answering or fighting it. Let it drift. This balanced observation diminishes the noise's power, as attention no longer feeds it. Trust in the body's innate ability to rest emerges, akin to floating in water. Thrashing sinks you, but release holds you up. Sleep isn't something to do. It happens when conditions align, free from push and pull. Equanimity also addresses identity's role in insomnia. Anxiety often stems from ego-driven fears, needing rest to perform, prove worth, or function tomorrow. This makes peace conditional on success. Letting go of identity, even briefly, mirrors monks' contentment in simple awareness. We're enough as is, without extras. Treat all experiences with gentle equality. Quiet or busy mind, relaxed or tense body, all receive the same balanced attention. This fosters freedom, where peace doesn't depend on perfection. Practically, before bed, take quiet breaths and remind yourself, "I don't need to control this night. I just need to let it happen." Whisper it mentally when thoughts rise, letting it soak into awareness. Reflect on the day with balance, viewing highs and lows equally as past moments. This softens the heart, dissolving clinging to pleasure or aversion to pain, both enemies of rest. Initially, equanimity may feel distant amid chaos, but willingness to observe and release control trains the mind that it's safe to settle. Physically, muscles soften, breath slows, jaw relaxes, signs of deeper peace. Importantly, equanimity isn't indifference. It's wise caring without fear, meeting moments with soft mind and steady heart. It's not suppressing thoughts but welcoming with balance. Unexpected sleep during peaceful drives or rains exemplifies this. No pressure, just presence unburdens the mind. Cultivate intentionally through reflection, training, and surrender. Understanding most sleep issues stem from mental over-effort. Stop chasing, sit in being, allowing things as they are. Tonight, rest in knowing you're not in charge. Breathe softly, let thoughts float like birds in a vast sky. Equanimity becomes your pillow, awareness your blanket, stillness enough. In balanced surrender, find the rest sought all along. This foundation sets the stage for deeper practices, emphasizing attitude over technique. By embracing equanimity, mental noise loses grip, paving the way for natural, healing sleep. The document promises transformation. Nights and inner world forever changed, choosing peace over chaos. Make the promise, starting tonight. I choose peace. I choose silence. I am calm. This message to mind, nervous system, and heart signals enough noise time for stillness. Begin the journey, discovering timeless tools that quiet the mind, release tension, and invite peaceful sleep. Cultivating Pechka Papaya as a mental condition. Pechka Papaya, drawn from the Bainam's intricate analysis of the mind, represents a profound mental condition that serves as the bedrock for equanimity in Buddhist psychology. Unlike fleeting emotions, it functions as a stable foundation, akin to the unseen soil nurturing a flower's growth, essential yet subtle. In the context of bedtime restlessness, this condition addresses the core disturbances of craving and aversion that sabotage sleep. Craving manifests as an urgent desire for rest, while aversion arises as resistance to intrusive thoughts or discomfort. Both create mental agitation, turning the mind into a turbulent sea where peace cannot anchor. Upekkha Pakaya shifts this dynamic by fostering a neutral, balanced awareness that neither grasps nor rejects, allowing the mind to remain calm amid the flux of experiences. It's not about achieving instant calm, but creating an inner environment where wholesome states, like relaxation and presence, can naturally emerge. The document emphasizes that this isn't a quick fix or technique, but a cultivated attitude, where the mind learns to say, even if sleep doesn't come right away, I'm okay. Even if thoughts persist, I don't need to battle them. To cultivate Pechka Papaya, one must understand its roots in interdependent mental conditions. The Bainam teaches that equanimity arises not from isolated willpower, but from prior wholesome factors, such as mindfulness and ethical reflection. Begin by establishing consistent inner habits during the day that carry into night. For instance, practice non-reactive observation in daily stresses. Notice frustration during a commute without amplifying it. This builds the mental soil for equanimity to take hold at bedtime. As evening approaches, transition by slowing down external activities, creating a buffer zone free from screens or stimulating conversations. Lie down and scan the mind for subtle tensions, the faint worry about tomorrow or regret from the day. Instead of suppressing them, apply upekkha by viewing them impartially as transient phenomena, not defining your worth. This impartiality reduces their emotional charge, transforming potential agitation into mere observations. A key aspect is redefining the relationship with sleep itself. The document highlights how the fear of insomnia ironically fuels it, as craving for sleep becomes a form of grasping that heightens pressure. Pechka Papaya counters this by promoting acceptance. Sleep will unfold as it should, without force. Visualize this as releasing a tightly held rope. The mind relaxes when it stops pulling. Practically, use a gentle mantra like, "Let this night be as it is," repeated not with effort, but as a soft reminder to the nervous system. When thoughts surge, acknowledge them neutrally. This is a thought arising. It will pass. Avoid labeling them as bad or unwanted, which only invites aversion. Over time, this neutrality becomes habitual, where the mind defaults to balance rather than struggle. Trust plays a pivotal role in this cultivation. The body inherently knows how to rest, much like it regulates breathing or heartbeat without conscious intervention. Pechka Papaya nurtures trust by diminishing the ego's interference, the illusion that I must orchestrate everything. Reflect on past instances where sleep came effortlessly, perhaps during exhaustion or relaxation, to reinforce this confidence. In practice, extend this to physical sensations. If the body feels tense, observe it with equanimity rather than trying to fix it immediately. This allows natural softening, as resistance often exacerbates tightness. The document likens it to floating, surrender to the water's support instead of thrashing. Similarly, surrender to the night's rhythm, trusting that equanimity creates the conditions for rest without demanding it. Letting go of identity further deepens Pechka Papaya. Much nighttime anxiety stems from self-concepts like, I am a performer who needs energy, or I must be productive tomorrow. These identities conditionalize rest on external validation, breeding unrest. Cultivate by contemplating impermanence before bed. Recall the day's events as fleeting, neither successes nor failures defining you. This dissolves attachment to outcomes, fostering a monk-like contentment in bare awareness. You're not your roles or achievements. You're the observer witnessing the play of mind. This shift reduces mental heaviness, as equanimity treats all experiences equally, joy or sorrow, activity or quiet, with the same gentle poise. Reflection enhances this mental condition. As you settle in bed, review the day without bias. Note positive and negative moments, then hold them in balanced view. That was enjoyable, that was challenging, but both have passed. This equality softens the heart, eroding the need to cling or avert. If equanimity feels elusive at first, start small. Endure a minor itch or stray thought without immediate reaction. This willingness trains the mind that it's safe to release guard, no constant planning, analyzing, or fixing required. Physically, signs emerge: slower breath, relaxed muscles, a sense of settling without effort. These indicate Upekkha Pakaya functioning not as relaxation, but as a deeper enabler of peace. Equanimity's strength lies in wise caring. It doesn't suppress but welcomes with balance, free from fear. Meet moments with quiet resilience, knowing control is illusory but response is yours. The document notes that unexpected rest often embodies this no striving, just presence. Intentionally cultivate through daily surrender. Understanding sleep issues arise from over-chasing. Stop pursuing. Allow. In balanced space, rest arrives as a gift when the mind is receptive. Ultimately, Pechka Papaya transforms bedtime from control battles to natural unfoldings. By building this condition through observation, trust, and reflection, mental noise fades, replaced by stillness. Promise yourself peace. Let equanimity guide you into healing sleep, where the mind, unburdened, finally rests. Observing thoughts with balanced awareness. Observing thoughts with balanced awareness is a cornerstone of cultivating equanimity, transforming the chaotic mental noise of nighttime into a gentle, non-reactive flow. As the document illustrates, most people either become entangled in their thoughts, following them down endless rabbit holes, or attempt to suppress them forcefully, which only heightens resistance and agitation. Balanced awareness, rooted in Upekkha, offers a middle path, neither engagement nor rejection, but impartial observation. Thoughts are seen as transient events, much like leaves drifting on a river or wind rustling through branches. The tree doesn't panic at the wind, it sways and adjusts without clinging. Similarly, the mind can learn to witness thoughts without amplifying their power. This approach diminishes the mental noise that keeps sleep at bay, as attention is no longer fuel for the fire. Instead of viewing thoughts as enemies to conquer, they become neutral phenomena, arising and passing on their own accord. This shift is essential because nighttime thoughts often carry emotional weight, worries about tomorrow, regrets from the day, or hypothetical scenarios that trap the mind in cycles of craving and aversion. To practice this, Begin by settling into a comfortable position in bed, closing your eyes and turning attention inward. Notice the breath for a few cycles to anchor awareness, but don't force focus. Let it be a soft starting point. When a thought emerges, say, "I need to remember that task tomorrow," acknowledge it simply. This is a planning thought. Avoid diving into its content or judging it as disruptive. The key is neutrality. No analysis, no storytelling, just recognition. The document compares this to watching clouds drift across the sky. You don't chase them or wish them away. They come, they go. This balanced observation prevents the thought from snowballing into anxiety. If emotions tag along, like frustration at the thought's persistence, observe that too. Frustration is arising. This meta-awareness creates distance, reducing identification with the thought as mine or real. Over time, the mind learns that thoughts lack inherent power. Their intensity stems from our reaction, not their existence. Balanced awareness also involves understanding the impermanent nature of thoughts. In Buddhist terms, they are conditioned phenomena, dependent on prior mental states, sensations, or external triggers. Recognizing this impermanence fosters detachment. A worry that feels urgent now will fade, just as past thoughts have. Practice by noting the life cycle of a thought, its arising, peaking, and dissolving. For instance, a regretful memory might surge, but if observed without fuel, it weakens naturally. This isn't suppression, it's non-interference. The document stresses that fighting thoughts creates more tension, like splashing in water to stay afloat. Instead, allow the thought to be, and it loses momentum. This cultivates patience, a byproduct of equanimity, where the mind doesn't demand instant silence, but trusts the process of passing. Physical cues enhance this practice. As thoughts arise, scan the body for corresponding sensations, a tight chest with worry or restless legs with planning. Observe these without trying to relax them immediately. Balanced awareness includes the body-mind connection. Note: tension in the shoulders accompanying this thought. This holistic view reveals how mental events manifest physically, reducing their abstract power. Over sessions, the body softens as the mind does, with slower breath and relaxed muscles, signaling deeper equanimity. If the mind wanders, which it will, gently return to observation without self-criticism. Wandering is just another thought to observe. The mind is wandering now. This self-compassion prevents secondary agitation, like guilt over failing to stay focused. The document ties this to letting go of identity, where thoughts often reinforce ego narratives. I'm the one who always overthinks, or I need to be rested to succeed. Balanced awareness exposes these as constructed stories, not truths. Observe them as such. This is an identity thought arising. This detachment weakens their hold, mirroring monk's forest simplicity content in awareness alone, without extras. Treat busy and quiet minds equally. Neither is better. This equality dissolves preferences that fuel unrest. For example, craving a blank mind invites aversion when thoughts appear. Instead, equanimity says, "Let this be enough," fostering freedom where peace isn't conditional on silence. Practically, integrate this before bed by starting with short sessions, 5 to 10 minutes of lying still, observing whatever arises. Use anchors like breath if needed, but transition to open awareness. When doubt creeps in, is this working? Observe it too. Reflection aids. End by noting observed patterns, building insight without judgment. Consistency turns this into a natural state. Thoughts lose dominance as awareness strengthens. The fear of silence fades, replaced by trust in presence. Even in chaos, balanced observation creates space. This practice aligns with Bainham's view of mental factors. Equanimity supports wholesome states by neutralizing push-pull. It's wise, caring, observing without fear, meeting thoughts with steady heart. Unexpected rest exemplifies this. No striving, just presence. Cultivate intentionally. Stop chasing sleep. Allow. In observation, find rest. Sort. Balanced awareness isn't indifference but intimate engagement without entanglement. It welcomes thoughts, sees their emptiness, and lets go. Nights transform, from noisy battles to peaceful witnesses. Promise peace, observe, and silence follows naturally. Building trust in natural rest. Building trust in natural rest is a pivotal step in overcoming the mental barriers that prevent deep, effortless sleep, shifting from forced control to innate confidence in the body's wisdom. As the document explains, sleep is not an action we perform but a state that emerges when conditions align, much like floating in water where surrender, not struggle, allows buoyancy. The core issue for many is a lack of trust. The mind, driven by fear and ego, insists on micromanaging rest, leading to agitation. Thoughts like, "I must fall asleep now," or "What if I'm tired tomorrow?" reflect this distrust, creating a self-fulfilling cycle of tension. Equanimity, or upekkha, fosters trust by encouraging acceptance that the body knows how to restore itself, independent of willful intervention. This trust isn't blind faith, but a cultivated recognition rooted in Buddhist teachings that rest is inherent when we cease interference. By releasing the need to do sleep, we allow it to happen organically, transforming restless nights into peaceful transitions. To build this trust, start by reflecting on the body's autonomic processes. Consider how it breathes, digests, and heals wounds without conscious direction. These are reminders of its innate intelligence. The document likens sleep to these functions. It's not something to chase, but to permit. Begin evenings with a simple acknowledgement: "My body has rested before, it will again." This counters the ego's narrative that rest must be earned through perfect conditions or mental quietude. Recall instances of unexpected sleep, like dozing during a calm moment or after emotional release, to reinforce that trust emerges in absence of pressure. These memories serve as evidence, gradually eroding doubt. Practically, avoid clock watching or tracking sleep duration, as these habits amplify anxiety. Instead, focus on the present sensation of lying down, feeling the bed support, and letting gravity take over. This physical grounding builds subconscious assurance that the body is held, safe, and capable. Equanimity plays a key role here, as it neutralizes the push-pull of craving rest and fearing its absence. The Bainham views trust as arising from balanced mental conditions, where equanimity acts as the foundation. Cultivate by observing nighttime resistance without judgment. If wakefulness persists, note it impartially. This is the body adjusting rather than catastrophizing. This observation diminishes fear, allowing trust to grow. The document emphasizes that forcing sleep through techniques often backfires, as it implies distrust in natural processes. Instead, adopt a mindset of allowance. Whatever unfolds tonight is okay. This patience trains the nervous system to downregulate, reducing cortisol spikes that perpetuate insomnia. Over time, the mind learns that not every night needs to be productive in sleep. Some are for gentle awareness, and rest still follows. Trust also involves surrendering identity's demands. Ego often ties rest to performance. "I need sleep to be efficient tomorrow," making it conditional and stressful. Building trust means decoupling self-worth from outcomes, viewing rest as a basic right, not a reward. Reflect before bed: "I am more than my productivity, my body rests regardless." This mirrors Buddhist simplicity, where monks find contentment in being, not doing. Let go of labels like insomniac or poor sleeper, as they reinforce distrust. Instead, affirm the body's resilience through visualization. Imagine past recoveries from fatigue, feeling the renewal. This rewires neural pathways, fostering confidence that the system self-regulates. Physically, trust manifests in bodily cues. As equanimity deepens, notice how breath slows naturally, muscles unclench, and warmth spreads signs, the parasympathetic system activates without coercion. Practice progressive relaxation, not as a method to induce sleep, but to witness the body's autonomy, tense and release muscles, observing how they soften on their own. The document compares this to water holding a floater. Trust the support. If thoughts intrude, return to bodily sensations like the rise and fall of the abdomen, trusting they'll pass. This sensory focus anchors trust in the tangible, countering abstract fears. Daily habits bolster nighttime trust. Incorporate brief daytime rests, short naps, or mindful pauses to demonstrate the body's responsiveness. Avoid caffeine or screens that disrupt natural rhythms, showing respect for its needs. Journal gratitudes for bodily functions, shifting from doubt to appreciation. In meditation, practice non-striving. Sit without goals, trusting awareness suffices. This carries to bed, where trust replaces effort. Challenges arise, like persistent wakefulness testing patience. Here, equanimity shines. Accept it as temporary, trusting dawn brings renewal. The document notes that chasing sleep makes it flee, stopping the chase invites it. Wise caring means meeting distrust with compassion, not force. Over weeks, trust solidifies sleep, comes not as conquest, but gift. Ultimately, building trust in natural rest transforms the approach to sleep. From anxious striving to serene allowance, equanimity enables this shift. Promise peace, trust the process, and rest follows naturally. In this foundation, deeper stillness awaits. Letting go of identity for deeper peace. Letting go of identity is a transformative practice that unlocks deeper peace by dismantling the ego-driven constructs that fuel nighttime restlessness and mental noise. As outlined in the document, much of our insomnia stems not from physical discomfort, but from subtle attachments to self-concepts. Ideas like, I need to be well rested to perform, I must prove my worth tomorrow, or I'm the type who always struggles with sleep. These identities make rest conditional, tying it to success, control, or validation, which breeds anxiety and prevents natural surrender. In Buddhist psychology, particularly through equanimity, upekkha, letting go of identity, means releasing these fabricated selves, allowing the mind to rest in simple awareness. This isn't erasure of personality, but a temporary dissolution of the I that clings, mirroring the contentment of monks who find sufficiency in presence alone. By shedding these layers, peace becomes unconditional, no longer dependent on outcomes or preferences, leading to profound rest where sleep arrives as a natural gift rather than a hard-won achievement. The process begins with recognizing how identity infiltrates bedtime thoughts. The Bainham framework views the self as a mental construct arising from interdependent conditions, not a solid entity. At night, this shows up as narratives, replaying the day's roles, parent, worker, achiever, or projecting future ones. These stories create pressure. If I don't sleep, I'll fail at my identity tomorrow. To let go, start with mindful inquiry. As you lie down, ask gently, who is the I that needs this rest? Observe without answering. This exposes the constructed nature of self. The document likens it to ego in disguise, where anxiety around sleep masks deeper fears of inadequacy. By viewing these as passing mental events, not truths, attachment weakens. Practice by labeling, this is an identity thought arising, then let it fade like a cloud. This non-identification creates space, reducing the mental heaviness that blocks peace. Equanimity supports this, letting go by treating all self-concepts with balanced awareness, neither clinging to empowering ones nor averting painful ones. The document emphasizes that equanimity says, let this be enough, applying to identities too. Whether you see yourself as successful or flawed, hold it lightly. Both are impermanent. Reflect before bed. Recall a day where identity felt burdensome. Then visualize releasing it like dropping a heavy backpack. Feel the lightness. The body relaxes as the mind does. This mirrors the dissolution of craving and aversion, where peace no longer hinges on being a certain way. Trust emerges. The body rests regardless of self-image, as sleep is a biological rhythm, not an ego reward. Over time, this fosters humility, where you're content without extras, like forest monks embracing simplicity. Physically, letting go of identity manifests in the body, dissolving sensation described in deeper practices, but here it's foundational. As attachments loosen, scan the body. Notice where identity holds tension, clenched jaw from proving worth, tight chest from fear of failure. Observe these without fixing. Equanimity allows them to soften naturally. The document notes muscles relax, breath slows, as nothing stands in peace's way. Pair with breath. Inhale, awareness of identity. Exhale, release. This rhythmic letting go rewires the nervous system, signaling safety in non-self. No longer doing rest as a role, you simply are present, unburdened. Challenges include resistance. The ego clings to identity for security. When doubt arises, who am I without these labels? Meet it with Pechka. Observe without fear. The document assures this isn't indifference but wise caring, welcoming the discomfort of dissolution. Start small. Release one identity per night, like the warrior, by noting its futility. Journal subtly. What self-concept disturbed peace today? This insight builds momentum, as seeing identity's role in suffering motivates release. Deeper peace arises from this, as the mind abides in awareness beyond self. The document ties it to freedom, peace unshaken by imperfection. Sleep becomes effortless, not chased but received. Even wakefulness holds peace, free from self-judgment. Cultivate through reflection. End days viewing experiences equally, dissolving, clinging. This heart-softening invites stillness. Letting go aligns with Buddhist non-self, anatta. Identities are illusions, conditioned and empty. Releasing them reveals inherent peace, untouched by ego. The document promises transformation. Nights of natural healing promise peace, let go, and deeper rest follows. In practice, integrate into routine. Before sleep, affirm I am enough as awareness. Visualize identities as veils lifting, revealing vast sky. This fosters trust. Body rests when mind stops performing. Over time, identity's grip fades, peace deepens. Ultimately, letting go of identity completes equanimity's foundation, turning mental noise into silence. From control to surrender, peace becomes default. In this space, true rest emerges, not earned, but inherent. Gateways to inner silence. Discovering the inner hum, nada. Discovering the inner hum, known as nada in certain Buddhist and yogic traditions, opens a subtle gateway to profound silence, guiding the mind beyond surface noise into states of deep peace and meditative absorption. As the document describes, this isn't a metaphorical sound, but an actual internal vibration, a faint, high-pitched tone or resonance that emerges when external distractions fade and the mind turns inward. It's not audible in the conventional sense, like music or environmental noise. Rather, it's perceived through refined awareness, often as a soft ringing, whispering pressure, or vibrational hum in the background of consciousness. In Theravada and Tibetan lineages, nada is recognized as a natural phenomenon arising from stillness, serving as a bridge to non-conceptual presence. For those struggling with mental chatter at night, discovering this hum transforms bedtime from a battle against thoughts into a gentle invitation to deeper rest. It's always present, but habitual outward focus on worries, plans, or sensations blocks it. Once noticed, it becomes a reliable anchor, drawing attention away from restless thinking toward the ground of being. where sleep can unfold naturally. The key to discovery lies in understanding that nada isn't created or forced. It's uncovered through relaxation of the senses and mind. The document emphasizes it's a reflection of one's own presence, the sound of consciousness itself, emerging when gross stimuli subside. Begin by creating conducive conditions. Lie in a dark, quiet room, eyes closed, body still. Let the breath be natural, without controlling its rhythm. Soften attention behind the ears, release the tongue, and allow the body to dissolve into the background. This inward turn isn't about shutting off awareness, but relaxing active engagement with thoughts or external inputs. As the mind quiets, the hum may appear subtly like a thread in vast openness. Don't strain to hear it. Straining amplifies mental activity. Instead, cultivate curiosity and openness, as if feeling a faint breeze. The document notes that many have touched it unknowingly in total silence, dismissing it as mere quietude, but it's an invitation to vibrational perception beyond ordinary hearing. In practice, nada serves as a non-stimulating focal point, unlike mantras or visualizations that might stir the brain. It supports meditative states by holding attention softly, leading to absorption, jnana, where boredom or struggle dissipates. For bedtime, this means using it to shift from reactive to receptive mode, retraining the nervous system for rest. If it arises as a high tone or hum, rest with it, gently follow without grasping, like tracing a distant melody. The document likens it to the sound of emptiness, a causeless vibration in undisturbed space, direct as breath yet subtler. As familiarity grows, it appears even daytime, in quiet moments, acting as a compass to inner stillness. This builds a bridge between daily activity and nighttime peace, reminding that silence underlies all noise. Discovery often requires overcoming initial obstacles, like doubt or impatience. If hard to notice, don't worry, sensitivity develops with practice. Start daytime. Sit quietly, let senses rest, be open without analysis. The less you seek, the clearer it becomes. The document assures it's not talent-based but stillness-dependent, forcing reverses progress. In forest traditions, it's seen as subtle energy perception, a consequence of sense withdrawal. In Dzogchen, it's a sign of mind returning to its ground, not an attachment but a stepping stone to vast silence. Use it as a background anchor. It demands no focus like guided practices, supporting open awareness where the mind quiets effortlessly. The hum's power lies in dissolving fear of silence. Many associate quiet with emptiness or loss of control, but nada reveals it's full of presence, awareness, active even in stillness. This recognition fosters inner safety. You're never alone, as the hum echoes your being. Thoughts may interrupt. Let them, returning gently to the sound. It's not escape, but acknowledgement that life persists beyond thought. Stillness isn't absence, but depth, with nada as the bridge. Ancient texts call it the sound of emptiness, not void, but open space, expressing simply. In practical terms, it releases surface identity. Stop being the thinker or sleeper. Rest in awareness. Sleep follows as the mind returns to natural rhythm. The document highlights it's a gateway to peace independent of external conditions. To deepen discovery, lie still, attention inward, curious. If it arises, stay. If not, remain open. Return to this silent center, your refuge. Over time, the hum transforms rest, from effortful to allowing, gross to subtle. This sacred listening opens doors to timeless self, untouched by stress. Discovery of nada marks entry to inner silence, where mental noise yields to vibrational presence. Promise peace, listen, and stillness awaits. Withdrawing senses for subtle perception. Withdrawing the senses for subtle perception is a gentle practice that refines awareness, creating the inner space needed to access profound silence and the natural resonance of the mind. As detailed in the document, This isn't about completely shutting down sensory input or forcing isolation, which could lead to dullness or resistance. Instead, it's a relaxed disengagement from active involvement with sights, sounds, thoughts, and bodily sensations, allowing the gross layers of experience to quiet so that subtler dimensions, like the inner hum, nada, can emerge. In Buddhist traditions, particularly in forest meditation and dzogchen practices, this withdrawal, known as pratyahara in related yogic contexts, is a natural step toward deeper stillness. It refines attention, turning it inward not toward analysis but toward pure, open perception. For bedtime routines, this becomes invaluable. As the day's stimuli fade, the mind often clings to remnants of activity, perpetuating noise. By softly withdrawing, you invite a shift where the subtle vibrational presence becomes vivid, guiding the nervous system from alertness to restful absorption. This process demystifies the path to peace, showing that silence isn't empty but rich with inherent awareness. The practice begins with intentional preparation, emphasizing softness over effort. Lie in a comfortable position in a dim, quiet environment, ensuring minimal external distractions, no lingering lights or sounds that pull attention outward. Close your eyes gently, not tightly, and allow the body to settle without forcing relaxation. The document stresses that withdrawal means relaxing active engagement with the senses, not total shutdown. Start with the breath, let it flow naturally, observing without control. Then, expand awareness to the senses. Notice any lingering visual impressions behind the eyelids, auditory echoes from the day, or tactile sensations like the sheet's texture. Don't suppress them, simply soften your grip on them. Imagine attention as a soft light, diffusing inward, away from the periphery. This creates an openness where gross elements recede and subtle ones appear. Behind the ears, release any tension. Let the tongue rest loosely. Feel the body as a whole dissolving into the background, not heaviness but spaciousness. This inward expansion, as the document describes, reveals the faint tone like a connective thread to a dimension beyond thinking. Key to this withdrawal is non-grasping attention, which prevents the mind from wandering back to surface levels. If thoughts arise about daily events or future plans, acknowledge them briefly, but return to the inward space without judgment. The document compares it to listening with awareness, not for new sounds, but for what's already present beneath the noise. In Tibetan dzogchen, this is akin to the mind returning to its ground, where phenomena like nada signal the dissolution of conceptual overlays. Practically, guide the process with subtle cues. Mentally note withdrawing vision, allowing any afterimages to fade, withdrawing hearing, letting external hums blend into neutrality. For touch, feel contact points with the bed, but release fixation, allowing sensations to become peripheral. Smell and taste naturally quiet in stillness. This systematic softening refines perception, shifting from reactive to receptive mode. Over time, the nervous system learns to deactivate fight or flight, entering deep rest where sleep feels like a natural extension. Subtle perception emerges as gross stimuli fade, revealing vibrations that some traditions call the sound of consciousness. The document notes this isn't mystical, but a consequence of sense withdrawal. Energy once dispersed outward now resonates internally. If the hum doesn't appear immediately, persist gently. Sensitivity grows with repetition. Daytime practice aids. During quiet moments, withdraw briefly to build familiarity. Avoid evaluation. Don't judge the experience as successful or failing. Just rest with whatever arises, like feeling a breeze without analysis. This cultivates surrender, not giving up, but allowing awareness to lead. The reversal's subtle guiding gross changes one's relationship with rest, meditation, and life. Fear of silence dissolves. What seemed empty becomes full of presence, as nada reminds that stillness holds life. In deeper application, withdrawal supports extended inward stillness, useful for jnana or absorption states. The document highlights it as a stepping stone, not destination, useful when abiding without attachment. Physically, the body melts, tension eases, breath evens, mind widens. If distractions return, gently redirect inward. This retrains reactivity. Over time, the hum becomes a compass, pointing to silence amid activity. Withdrawal also integrates with equanimity. Observe arising subtleties without clinging. The document assures even in death, such resonances persist, but practically, it uncovers timeless aspects untouched by anxiety, free from identity. Start with sacred curiosity. Lie, rest behind ears, let body melt. Open to the hum. Results secondary to returning to center. This practice transforms perception from outward seeking to inward listening, fostering peace that doesn't depend on conditions. Promise stillness, withdraw, and subtle worlds reveal themselves. Using nada as an anchor in meditation. Using nada as an anchor in meditation provides a subtle, non-demanding focal point that stabilizes awareness, leading the mind into deeper states of stillness and absorption without generating additional mental activity. As the document explains, unlike external aids such as music or guided visualizations that can stimulate the brain and perpetuate thought loops, nada draws attention inward toward a natural resonance, allowing the restless mind to settle effortlessly. This inner hum, described as a faint tone, ringing, or vibrational presence, serves as a gentle resting place, real enough to hold focus, yet subtle enough to quiet conceptual thinking. In Theravada jhana practices and Tibetan Dzogchen traditions, it's employed as a central object for meditation, supporting extended periods of inward calm. For pre-sleep meditation, this anchor is particularly powerful. It shifts the nervous system from active-reactive states to receptive ones, where boredom, struggle, or agitation fade, paving the way for natural sleep. By resting with nada, the practitioner abides in open awareness, retraining the mind to prefer presence over distraction, ultimately transforming meditation from effortful concentration to spontaneous peace. To use nada as an anchor, first establish the conditions for its emergence through sense withdrawal, as previously discussed. Lie comfortably, eyes closed, in quiet darkness, allowing the body to relax and senses to soften. Once the hum arises, perhaps as a soft, high-pitched tone behind the ears, gently rest attention on it without grasping or evaluating. The document stresses not to grab it. Instead, follow with the softness of feeling a breeze on skin. This non-striving approach prevents force, which would sink the mind back into turbulence. Think of it as a background thread. Awareness stays lightly connected, expanding into the space around the sound, rather than narrowing on it intensely. If the mind wanders to thoughts or sensations, note the diversion, briefly wandering, and return to the hum without self-criticism. This gentle redirection builds resilience, making returns easier over time, as the anchor provides a soft, judgment-free home base. In meditation, nada's role as an anchor excels in fostering absorption. Unlike breath-focused practices that might invite control or analysis, the hum supports a passive listening that quiets surface-level identity. You stop being the meditator trying to focus and become the awareness resting in itself. The document highlights how this leads to jhana states, where the mind enters extended stillness without boredom. Nada gives just enough engagement to sustain interest while dissolving effort. Practically, sessions can start short, 10 to 15 minutes before bed, extending as comfort grows. Visualize the hum as a subtle compass, pointing inward amid mental fluctuations. As familiarity increases, integrate it into seated meditation. Sit upright, withdraw senses, and let the tone emerge. Rest with it, observing how thoughts arise like ripples on water, then subside without interference. This trains equanimity. Even disruptive thoughts are met with balance, as attention remains anchored in the hum's steady presence. The anchor's effectiveness lies in its ability to retrain reactivity. In daily life, the mind habitually directs outward planning, analyzing, seeking stimulation. Nada reverses this by encouraging receptivity. Listen without demand, and the mind learns to abide rather than react. The document notes that over time, the hum appears spontaneously, even during the day, serving as a reminder of the silent dimension beneath activity. This integration bridges meditation and life, reducing overall mental noise. For those with insomnia, it addresses root causes. Instead of chasing sleep, anchor in nada to unburden the mind, allowing rest to follow naturally. If fear of silence emerges, associating it with loneliness or void, the hum counters it, revealing stillness as vibrant and safe. Awareness remains active, full of life, dissolving the need for distraction. Advanced use involves treating nada as a signpost, not a goal. In Dzogchen, it's a marker of the mind's ground, useful but not for attachment. Clinging would recreate agitation. When deeper states arise, like vast openness or unity, hold them lightly. Nada stabilizes without fixation. The document warns against evaluation. Don't analyze the sound's quality or meaning, just be intimate with it. This prevents conceptual overlays, keeping meditation pure. Physically, anchoring in nada softens the body. Tension releases, breath deepens, as energy once scattered now converges inward. Signs of progress include longer periods of quiet, fewer interruptions, and a sense of timelessness. Challenges may include initial elusiveness or mind wandering. If nada fades, return to sense withdrawal without frustration. Patience builds sensitivity. The document reassures it's about surrender. Let experience unfold. Subtle guide gross. Over sessions, the anchor strengthens inner safety. Trust depth behind experience. Fear dissolves. Even in turmoil, return to the hum. It's a bridge to life beyond thought. Nada, as anchor, embodies Buddhist subtlety, not escaping, but recognizing depth in stillness. Traditions note its presence even in transition states, like death, as consciousness's last signal. Practically, it uncovers timeless self, free from stress, identity. Begin tonight, lie, withdraw, listen softly, stay open. Nada leads to restful presence. Using nada transforms meditation, from striving to allowing, thought to depth. Promise silence, anchor, and peace arises. The sound of emptiness and presence. The sound of emptiness and presence, embodied by the inner hum or nada, is a profound gateway to understanding the nature of consciousness itself, revealing a silence so deep it transcends ordinary quietude. As described in the document, this isn't a void or absence, but a vibrant, open space where the mind's essence expresses itself as a subtle vibration, a causeless resonance often termed the sound of emptiness. Ancient Buddhist texts, particularly in Theravada and Dzogchen traditions, describe nada as a reflection of the mind's undisturbed state, not an external phenomenon, but an internal experience of pure presence. Unlike sensory sounds that stimulate thought, this hum draws awareness to the ground of being, free from conceptual overlays. For those seeking restful sleep, it offers a transformative shift, from battling mental noise to resting in a stillness that holds both emptiness and life. By engaging with this sound, the mind discovers a peace that doesn't depend on external conditions, allowing sleep to emerge as a natural continuation of presence rather than an escape from turmoil. Emptiness, in Buddhist philosophy, isn't a bleak nothingness, but a spacious quality devoid of fixed forms or self-concepts. The document refers to nada as the sound of emptiness, a vibration arising in this undisturbed openness, direct as breath yet subtler. To experience it, one must move beyond intellectualizing and into direct perception. Begin in a quiet, dark room, lying still with eyes closed. After withdrawing senses, as previously outlined, soften attention to the space behind thoughts. The hum may appear as a faint tone, ringing, or pressure, not heard with ears but felt in awareness. Rest with it without labeling or seeking meaning. The document warns that analysis buries it under concepts. Instead, let it be a living presence, like a heartbeat of silence. This engagement reveals emptiness as full alive, with awareness, not a dead void. The hum becomes a mirror. It reflects your own stillness, showing that presence persists even when thoughts cease. Presence, the counterpart to emptiness, is the active quality of awareness that knows without dividing. The document notes nada as the sound of your being, a resonance of consciousness itself. In meditation, use it to anchor this presence. Gently hold the hum in awareness, allowing thoughts to arise and pass like ripples on a lake. Don't chase or suppress them. Let the hum remain the steady backdrop. This cultivates a non-grasping intimacy with experience, where you're neither the thinker nor the doer, but the knowing itself. For bedtime, this practice soothes the nervous system. As presence deepens, the body softens, breath slows, and agitation fades. Sleep often follows, not forced, but as a natural surrender into the hum's spaciousness. Over time, this presence extends into daily life. Quiet moments reveal the hum, reminding you of the silence beneath activity, fostering a continuity of peace. The power of this sound lies in dissolving mental constructs, particularly the illusion of a solid self. The document highlights that resting with nada releases surface identity. You stop being the one trying to sleep or overthinker and abide in awareness itself. This aligns with Buddhist non-self, anatta. The hum isn't yours but a universal expression of consciousness, free from ego. Visualize it as a vast sky where thoughts are clouds, temporary, insubstantial. Resting in this sky-like awareness, fear of silence vanishes. Many avoid stillness, equating it with loneliness or loss, but nada reveals it as vibrant presence. This inner safety allows the mind to trust depth, reducing the need for distraction or control, both enemies of rest. In deeper practice, nada points to timeless truths. Some traditions, as the document notes, suggest it persists even in death, the last signal of consciousness before release. While speculative, this underscores its role as a bridge to the eternal, untouched by stress, unmoved by identity. Meditate by lying still, attention inward, curious. If the hum arises, stay. If not, hold the openness. Don't seek results. Return to the silent center. The document calls it a sacred curiosity that opens restful dimensions. Physically, the body responds. Muscles relax. Breath becomes transparent as energy aligns with presence. Challenges include impatience or doubt persist gently as sensitivity grows with stillness. Integration extends its impact. Notice the hum in daily pauses, letting it anchor presence amid chaos. This reduces mental noise, making nighttime meditation seamless. The document promises transformation. Rest becomes effortless, not chased but received. Even wakefulness holds peace, as presence outshines agitation. The sound of emptiness and presence is both nothing and everything, a vibration of life itself. Promise peace, rest in nada, and stillness becomes home. Training sensitivity for daily awareness. Training sensitivity for daily awareness is the gradual process of refining perception to notice subtle inner phenomena like the nada or hum, integrating profound stillness into everyday life beyond bedtime routines. As the document outlines, discovering and anchoring in the inner sound isn't about innate talent, but cultivating sensitivity through consistent, gentle practice. If the hum feels elusive at first, perhaps faint or absent, there's no need for frustration. It's a matter of building receptivity, which grows naturally with exposure to stillness. This training transforms the hum from a nighttime curiosity into a daily compass, gently reminding you of the silent dimension underlying all activity. By incorporating brief moments of inward listening throughout the day, the mind learns to access this resonance even amid busyness, reducing overall mental noise and fostering a seamless transition to restful sleep. Over time, this sensitivity rewires your relationship with silence, turning it from something feared to a trusted refuge full of presence and life. Begin training by incorporating short, intentional pauses during daily routines, where you consciously withdraw from external engagement. The document suggests starting with sitting quietly during the day, perhaps in a break at work, a moment in nature, or while waiting for something. Find a comfortable spot, close your eyes if possible, and let the senses rest without forcing closure. Allow the breath to settle naturally, softening attention inward toward the space behind the ears or the crown of the head. Be curious rather than expectant. Don't hunt for the hum, but open to whatever subtle vibrations arise. Let the mind settle like sediment in water, attention softening without rigidity. Avoid analyzing what you hear, whether it's a tone, pressure, or nothing at all. This non-evaluative approach is key, as judgment creates mental static that obscures subtlety. Instead, hold a gentle inquiry. What is present in this inner space? This builds sensitivity incrementally, teaching the mind to discern finer layers of awareness that gross distractions usually mask. The essence of this training is surrender, not passive defeat, but active allowing, where awareness leads instead of ego. The document describes it as a reversal, letting the subtle guide the gross, shifting from forceful control to receptive unfolding. In daily practice, this means releasing the urge to make something happen. If thoughts intrude plans for the afternoon or reflections on a conversation, let them pass without engagement, gently redirecting to the inner openness. Over repeated sessions, the hum begins to emerge more readily, even in non-ideal conditions like a noisy environment. You might notice it during a walk, in the pause between tasks, or while sipping tea. This familiarity turns the sound into a portable anchor, a quiet signal pulling you back to presence amid life's chaos. The more you train, the less effort is required. Sensitivity becomes habitual, like tuning an instrument to hear finer notes. A significant outcome of this training is the dissolution of fear around silence. The document poignantly notes that most people dread true quiet, associating it with emptiness, loneliness, or uncontrolled vulnerability, fears that keep the mind addicted to distraction and noise. Through daily sensitivity practice, this changes. As you meet the hum within stillness, you realize silence isn't barren but teeming with presence. The vibration reminds that awareness is always active, even without thought or stimulation. You're never truly alone. The hum echoes your inherent aliveness, ensuring you don't disappear when external input stops. This recognition fosters one of the deepest forms of inner safety, a trust that depth exists behind every experience, unshaken by surface turmoil. Fears lose their grip. You stop needing constant mental filler, whether scrolling, planning, or replaying dialogues. Instead, quiet moments become inviting, opportunities to reconnect with the hum's subtle assurance. When thoughts arise during training, as they inevitably will, the approach is inclusive rather than combative. The document advises letting them be, without fight or suppression. Simply allow attention to remain with the sound as a gentle resting place. The mind may wander, but it returns more fluidly each time, drawn by the hum's non-judgmental reality. This isn't about escaping thought, but acknowledging that life extends beyond it. Stillness isn't the absence of activity, it's the presence of depth, with nada serving as the bridge. By training daily, you interweave this insight into routine awareness. A stressful meeting might trigger anxiety, but a quick inward pause reveals the hum, grounding you in presence and diffusing reactivity. Traditions referenced in the document suggest the hum's timeless quality, even persisting in profound transitions like death, as the conscious mind's final signal before release. Whether literal or metaphorical, this underscores what daily training uncovers: a part of yourself untouched by stress, unmoved by anxiety, and free from fleeting identities. It's the essence met through softness, not striving, a sacred curiosity that opens doors to deeper rest. Start small. Commit to 5 to 10 minutes daily, gradually noticing how sensitivity spills over, making bedtime anchoring effortless. The hum becomes a lifelong ally, guiding toward peace that permeates waking and sleeping alike. Ultimately, training sensitivity embeds the inner hum into daily awareness, turning ephemeral glimpses into sustained presence. From fear to trust, distraction to depth, this practice redefines silence as home. Promise stillness, train daily, and awareness awakens. Tracing and releasing, suffering. Backward contemplation of dependent origination. Backward contemplation of dependent origination, or Potika stampede, is a powerful Buddhist practice for unraveling the roots of suffering, particularly the mental unrest that disrupts sleep and perpetuates inner noise. As detailed in the document, this isn't a forward progression towards suffering but a reverse tracing, starting from the immediate discomfort felt at night, such as anxiety, dissatisfaction, or subtle tension, and following it back to its origin. Traditional teachings outline 12 links: ignorance leading to volitional formations, consciousness, name and form, 6 sense bases, contact, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, birth, and finally aging, death, and suffering. In backward contemplation, we begin at the end, with the restlessness blocking rest, and peel away layers experientially, not intellectually. This approach, especially potent before sleep when the mind is tender and exposed, allows understanding to arise from awareness rather than analysis. By seeing the chain clearly, suffering begins to dismantle itself, creating space for natural peace and deep sleep. The document emphasizes this as a tool for freedom. Trace without force, and each insight becomes a letting go, turning agitation into lightness. To begin, settle into bed and turn attention to the present unease, not the physical symptoms like tiredness, but the mental flavor, perhaps a low hum of dissatisfaction, fear about tomorrow, or regret over the day. This is the doorway. Don't label or judge it, simply feel it without turning away. The document advises starting here because nighttime vulnerability makes the chain visible. Clinging to the day's events keeps the heart tied. From this discomfort, trace backward to craving. Beneath unrest is always a desire for things to be different. You might crave peace, validation, control, or even sleep itself. This wanting, though innocent, binds the mind in a loop, making rest impossible as it chases an unrealized future. Notice it gently. This is craving arising. The act of seeing loosens its grip, as craving thrives in unawareness. Understand it's natural but unnecessary. Craving promises relief but delivers agitation. By observing without judgment, you interrupt the cycle, allowing the mind to soften. Next, follow to clinging, the hand gripping the hot stone of desire. Clinging manifests as attachment to outcomes. Sleep must come now, or tomorrow is ruined, or holding on to beliefs like I need control. It tightens the mind, creating invisible pressure. The document likens it to a burning grasp, thinking it comforts, but it only hurts. Feel where the mind contracts, perhaps in the chest or thoughts. Subtle clinging is hardest to spot, but patience reveals it. Acknowledge, this is clinging to identity or result. Seeing it viscerally, not theoretically, begins release. No blame, just clarity. Clinging leads to becoming, the mental construction of self through narratives. At night, this appears as inner stories. I'm the overthinker, I can't function without rest. These aren't mere thoughts, they're self-creations, unstable and shifting. Observe the process, how becoming acts out identities, restarting suffering. The document notes becoming as the force birthing new reactions, habits, emotions that age and decay into disappointment. Deeper still, trace to birth not physical but the emergence of new mental patterns. Every restless thought births a reaction, perpetuating the cycle of unease. From here, uncover volitional formations, the unseen momentum behind thoughts, like currents under waves. These are habitual energies, urges to distract, plan, or react, operating pre-thought, shaped by years of conditioning. They're elusive, but quiet observation reveals them. Feel the push before a worry forms. The document stresses you don't stop them forcibly. Seeing them diminishes power. All arise from ignorance, the root not stupidity but misperception. Believing thoughts are permanent truths, emotions solid, self-separate. At night, ignorance shows as controlling sleep or viewing discomfort as a flaw. Clear seeing pierces this fog. Recognize thoughts as impermanent, not self. Awareness cuts the chain. Ignorance can't survive insight. This contemplation is experiential. Feel links between discomfort and craving. Clingings pull from stillness. No need for all 12 links or Pali terms. Freedom, not knowledge, is the goal. The document clarifies it's not heavy analysis but opening through presence. Sit with experience without running. Understanding arises from stillness. Each layer uncovered lightens. Insight into craving releases. Urgency into clinging eases tightness. Eventually, nothing remains to hold, just presence. For sleep, this sacred space becomes transformative. Trace backward gently, and you're walking out of suffering, one link at a time. No splash into sleep, but a leaf on a still pond, quiet return. Practically, start with breaths, then reflect on unrest's texture. Trace, what's the craving? Clinging? Feel, don't think. If overwhelming, focus on one link. The document promises unraveling, mind quiets, as ignorance yields to clarity. Freedom begins in willingness to see, turning pre-sleep into clarity, not chaos. Backward contemplation empowers. Suffering's chain, once seen, weakens. From restlessness to peace, only if you walk gently through the landscape. No force, presence. With each step, tension dissolves. Sleep enters naturally. Backward contemplation of dependent origination. Backward contemplation of dependent origination, or Potika stampede, is a powerful Buddhist tool for unraveling the roots of suffering, particularly the subtle unrest that surfaces in the quiet of night and blocks peaceful sleep. As the document explains, this isn't about following the traditional forward sequence of the 12 links from ignorance leading to formations, consciousness, name and form, and so on to suffering, but tracing backward from the immediate discomfort to its origin. Suffering in Buddhism arises as a chain reaction of inner causes and effects, not just from external events. At bedtime, when the mind is tender and exposed, clinging to the day's residues, this contemplation allows reflection to penetrate deeper than logic into experiential feeling. Starting from restlessness, anxiety, dissatisfaction, or that nagging sense something is missing, you gently follow the thread without force or analysis. The goal isn't to solve or fix, but to see clearly, because full seeing begins to dissolve the chain. This practice turns pre-sleep vulnerability into an opportunity for freedom, where understanding arises from stillness, weakening the links that sustain mental agitation. The traditional sequence begins with ignorance and unfolds forward. Ignorance conditions volitional formations, which condition consciousness, name and form, 6 sense bases, contact, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, birth, and finally aging, death, and suffering. But in backward contemplation, as the document emphasizes, we reverse this for practical insight. Start with the manifest suffering, the mental unease keeping you awake, perhaps fear of the next day, regret over words spoken, or a low hum of discontent. Don't label it intellectually, feel it without turning away. This discomfort is the doorway, not a symptom to medicate, but a signal to trace. Beneath it lies craving, a desire for things to be different, like wanting peace now, validation, or escape from the present. Even the wish for sleep, seemingly innocent, is craving in disguise, grasping at a future state and rejecting the now. Noticing this without judgment loosens its grip. Craving isn't evil but binding, creating loops that make rest impossible. By seeing it as movement away from presence, you begin to release the wanting that fuels unrest. Tracing further, craving leads to clinging, the tight grip on ideas, outcomes, or beliefs. The document likens it to holding a hot stone, thinking it comforts but only burning. At night, clinging might appear as attachment to control. Sleep must happen now, or tomorrow is ruined, or to identity. I'm the one who always fails at resting. Feel where the mind tightens. This reveals the mechanics. Clinging isn't just emotional, it's a mental contraction pulling you from stillness. With patience, observe its subtlety. It's often invisible until illuminated. Seeing it as unnecessary suffering, not a protector, allows softening. No blame, just recognition that clinging restarts the cycle of disappointment. This insight is experiential. Sense the pull, then let awareness hold it loosely. Deeper still is becoming, the process of constructing a self through narratives. The document notes this, shows as inner stories before sleep. I need this rest to function, or I'm an overthinker. These aren't mere thoughts but self-creations, unstable and shifting with moods. Becoming births, new reactions, habits, emotions that perpetuate unrest. Trace it, feel the mental momentum building identities, then see their fragility. This dissolves the illusion of a solid I suffering. It's all conditioned flux. With this view, the pressure to be a certain way eases, opening space for peace. Behind becoming live volitional formations, the unseen energies propelling thoughts and reactions, like currents under waves. These habits, shaped by memory and repetition, operate pre-thought. The urge to distract, plan, or tense. They're hard to catch, but in quiet observation, feel their push. The document advises not stopping them, but seeing them. Visibility reduces power. These formations stem from ignorance, not stupidity but misperception. Believing thoughts are permanent truths, emotions define you, or self is separate and controllable. Ignorance clouds reality, seeing thoughts as solid fuels suffering. Clear awareness pierces this fog. Realize discomfort isn't a fixed problem, but a misperceived process. Backward contemplation isn't intellectual theory, it's felt wisdom. You don't need to memorize the 12 links or Pali terms. Sense the connections, discomfort to craving, craving to clinging, and back to ignorance. This experiential tracing lightens each layer. Insight becomes letting go. The document stresses no force. Sit with what is, let understanding arise. The mind knows how to awaken, it needs space. Before sleep, this becomes sacred, not analysis but clarity, meeting experience without running. Each aware moment cuts the chain, restlessness yields to peace. Practically, lie down, feel the unease, trace gently. What's beneath this? Craving for change, clinging to outcome, becoming a sufferer, formations of habit. Ignorance of impermanence, no solving. Observe, layers weaken, suffering unravels, presence remains. The document promises extraordinary results. Trace back, walk out of suffering one link at a time. No splashy end, just quiet openness, like a leaf on a still pond. Sleep enters naturally, a return to ease. This contemplation teaches humility. Suffering's roots are deep but traceable. Even subtle unease surfaces for release. Chain it with equanimity. Balance aids seeing without overwhelm. Nights shift from chained unrest to liberated space. Promise freedom, contemplate backward, and peace unfolds. Backward tracing aligns with Buddha's insight. end suffering by uprooting causes. For modern minds, it's therapy, like but dharmic experiential, not talk-based. Challenges. Mind resists depth, starts small, one link per session. Over time, clarity grows, sleep deepens. Ultimately, this practice frees, no treating symptoms, but dissolving origins. Mind quiets, heart opens, rest arises. In tracing, find the silence sought. Identifying craving and clinging at night. Identifying craving and clinging at night is a critical step in unraveling the mental patterns that disrupt sleep, transforming restless evenings into opportunities for profound insight and release. As the document explains, in the Buddhist framework of dependent origination, paticca samuppada, craving and clinging are pivotal links in the chain of suffering, manifesting as subtle yet powerful forces that keep the mind agitated when the body seeks rest. At night, when external distractions fade, these tendencies become pronounced. Craving appears as a desire for things to be different, better sleep, peace, control, while clinging tightens around outcomes or identities, needing rest to perform, fearing failure. Recognizing these without judgment or suppression allows the mind to loosen their grip, creating space for natural stillness. This practice, rooted in the document's emphasis on backward contemplation, isn't about fighting these impulses, but seeing them clearly, as their visibility diminishes their power. By identifying craving and clinging in the tender moments before sleep, you pave the way for a mind unburdened, where rest emerges effortlessly. Craving, or tanha, often surfaces as a restless yearning for a different state. The document highlights that even the wish to fall asleep, though seemingly harmless, is a form of craving, grasping for a future moment of rest while rejecting the present. This might manifest as thoughts like, "I need to sleep now," or "I want this anxiety gone." In the quiet of night, craving can also take subtler forms, longing for comfort, validation, or escape through fantasy. These desires create mental movement, pulling awareness away from the now and into a loop of wanting. To identify craving, lie down and settle into the breath, noticing its rhythm without control. As thoughts arise, observe their tone. Is there a pull toward something not here? For example, a thought about tomorrow's tasks might carry a craving for control or perfection. Simply note, this is craving for certainty. Avoid analyzing the content. The goal is to see the desire itself, not its story. This recognition interrupts the loop, as craving thrives on unconscious pursuit. The document likens it to a hand reaching for something unattainable. Awareness stops the reach, softening the mind's tension. Clinging, or apadana, follows craving as a tighter grip, binding the mind to specific outcomes, identities, or beliefs. At night, it often appears as attachment to ideas like, "I must be well rested to succeed," or "I'm the kind of person who can't sleep." The document compares clinging to holding a hot stone, mistakenly believed to comfort but only burning. This fixation creates mental contraction, felt as tightness in the chest or a racing pulse when sleep feels elusive. To identify clinging, scan for areas where the mind feels stuck. Is it insisting on a particular result, like instant sleep, or holding an image of self, like the failure if rest doesn't come? Gently label, "This is clinging to control," or "This is clinging to identity." The document emphasizes patience. Clinging is subtle, often masquerading as necessity. By naming it, you expose its futility. Outcomes can't be forced, and identities are impermanent. This seeing reduces its emotional weight, allowing the mind to relax its grasp. Physically, craving and clinging manifest as bodily tension, a direct link to the mind's unrest. As you lie in bed, notice where craving tightens, perhaps shoulders tense with the desire for peace, or the jaw clenches with fear of sleeplessness. Clinging might show as a knotted stomach when attached to needing to perform tomorrow. Observe these without trying to fix them immediately. The document advises that resistance amplifies suffering. Instead, breathe into the sensation, noting tension with craving. This holistic awareness reveals how mental states ripple into the body, grounding insight in experience. Over time, as you identify these patterns, the body softens, breath slows, muscles release, signaling the nervous system's shift to calm. This aligns with equanimity, upekkha, which treats craving and clinging as transient, not defining, allowing them to pass without fight. The practice is experiential, not intellectual. The document stresses you don't need to dissect every thought, just feel the mechanics, cravings pull, clingings tightness. Before bed, dedicate 5 to 10 minutes to this. Lie still, observe the mind's activity, and ask, where is craving now? What am I clinging to? Common answers include craving silence or clinging to the idea of a perfect night. With each identification, pause and breathe, letting awareness hold the impulse without following it. This isn't suppression but non-engagement, weakening the chain of suffering. The document notes that seeing clearly is enough. Craving and clinging lose power when exposed, like shadows under light. Challenges arise when the mind resists vulnerability. Craving feels personal, clinging protective, making letting go seem risky. Counter this with equanimity. This is okay to feel, it will pass. Start small, 1 craving or clinging per night. Over time, patterns emerge. Perhaps craving comfort recurs, or clinging to control dominates. Journal briefly to track, fostering clarity without obsession. The document promises freedom. Each seen link lightens the mind, making rest natural, like a leaf settling on a pond. This identification aligns with backward contemplation's goal. Trace suffering to its roots, not to blame, but to release. Craving and clinging, seen clearly, reveal their emptiness, temporary, not you. Nights shift from struggle to insight, unrest to spaciousness, promise peace, identify, and stillness follows. Ultimately, this practice transforms how you meet nighttime agitation. From chasing rest to observing its blockers, you find ease in presence. In seeing, suffering unravels, and sleep arrives as a gift of clarity. Unraveling volitional formations and ignorance. Unraveling volitional formations and ignorance is the deeper layer of backward contemplation, independent origination, exposing the subconscious momentum and misperceptions that sustain nighttime suffering and mental unrest. As the document details, after identifying craving and clinging, the chain traces back to volitional formations, sankhara, the mental habits and impulses that propel thoughts and reactions, and ultimately to ignorance, avijja, the root delusion of not seeing reality clearly. These aren't easily visible like surface desires. They operate like unseen currents beneath waves, shaping the mind's direction before conscious awareness kicks in. At night, when the mind is exposed, these formations manifest as automatic urges, the push to plan, rehearse, analyze, or distract, even as the body yearns for rest. Ignorance fuels them by perpetuating beliefs that thoughts are solid truths, emotions permanent, or the self-controllable. Unraveling these through gentle observation doesn't require stopping them, but seeing their conditioned nature, which diminishes their power and opens the mind to clarity. This practice, experiential rather than theoretical, allows the pre-sleep space to become a field of liberation where the fog of misperception lifts and peace arises naturally. Volitional formations are the energetic forces behind mental activity, accumulated over years through repetition, memory, and unconscious beliefs. The document describes them as the force behind thoughts, operating preconceptually, like the tension before a worry fully forms, or the momentum that spins a random memory into regret. In bedtime contemplation, they show as subtle pushes, the urge to scroll on your phone when stillness feels uncomfortable, or the internal rehearsal of tomorrow's conversations. These aren't chosen in the moment, but habitual, conditioned responses that keep the mind on guard. To unravel them, lie quietly and observe the mind's speed. Feel the underlying energy before a thought crystallizes. Note, this is a formation, arising the push to fix or escape. Don't fight it. The document advises that trying to halt them adds tension. Instead, awareness alone exposes their mechanics. See how they arise from past patterns, not inherent necessity. This visibility slows their momentum. Like shining light on a shadow, it fades without confrontation. Tracing further, formations stem from ignorance, the foundational link in dependent origination. Ignorance isn't lack of knowledge, but distorted perception, viewing impermanent phenomena as permanent, unsatisfactory as fulfilling, or non-self as self. At night, this manifests in beliefs like, "I control my sleep," "This discomfort is a problem I must solve," or "My thoughts define me." These misperceptions create suffering not from events but from how they're seen, turning neutral wakefulness into a crisis. The document clarifies ignorance as a fog. Believing emotions are fixed or self is solid binds the mind. To unravel it, contemplate reality's characteristics: tilakkhana, impermanence; anicca, unsatisfactoriness; dukkha, non-self; anatta. Feel a thought arise. This is impermanent, arising and passing. Sense its unsatisfactoriness. Clinging to it brings unrest. Recognize non-self. This isn't me, it's conditioned. This direct seeing pierces ignorance, replacing delusion with clarity. The practice is gentle, not forceful analysis. As you lie in bed, start from discomfort and trace back. Beyond craving and clinging, feel the volitional push, the energy to react, then the ignorant view, fueling it, believing this must be controlled. The document emphasizes experiential insight. Sense the links without words, letting understanding emerge from presence. No need for perfect recall of the 12 links. The point is freedom, not scholarship. Each unraveled layer lightens. Formations lose drive when seen as habitual. Ignorance dissolves under awareness. The mind quiets because delusions can't survive truth thoughts as truths. No, they're fleeting. Sleep as controllable. No, it's natural when unobstructed. Physically, unraveling manifests in release. As formations are observed, body tension eases, the chest opens, breath deepens, signaling the nervous system's shift. Ignorance's grip, felt as mental heaviness, lightens into spaciousness. Integrate with breath. Inhale awareness of a formation. Exhale its conditioned nature. This rhythmic contemplation reinforces seeing, making it habitual. Challenges include subtlety. Formations move fast. Ignorance hides in assumptions. Start slow, one link per night, and build patience. The document assures all need is willingness to stay, observe, release. Over time, the mind learns safety in settling, no longer needing constant guard. This unraveling aligns with the Buddha's path. End suffering at its root. Formations and ignorance, seen, lose power. Suffering unravels, presence remains. Nights become sacred. From chained to free, agitation to openness. Even persistent unease softens. Awareness cuts the chain. Unraveling teaches that suffering is perceptual, not inevitable. Ignorance survives in blindness. Clarity ends it. The document promises, trace back gently, walk out one link at a time. No struggle, just return to quiet. Sleep follows as mind, unburdened, rests in truth. In essence, this deepens backward contemplation. Beyond craving, clinging, expose the drivers. Promise clarity, unravel, and peace blooms. Meditation on impurity, sabbaha bhavana. Meditation on impurity, or sabbaha bhavana, is an unconventional yet potent Buddhist practice that directly confronts the illusions of desire and attachment, particularly the subtle cravings that linger at night and hinder restful sleep. As the document describes, this meditation isn't about moral judgment or self-loathing, but a clear seeing of the body's true nature to break the spell of fixation on form, beauty, and sensuality. Often overlooked in mainstream circles, Asubha reveals the body not as a source of lasting happiness, but as a changing, fragile process, impermanent, unstable, and not self. At bedtime, when the mind drifts toward fantasy, craving comfort, or replaying interactions, this practice strips away the false promises of pleasure, transforming agitation into wisdom. By contemplating the body's composition, skin, flesh, blood, bones, organs, fluids, and odors, you dissolve obsession, releasing the mental energy that keeps awareness stirred. This isn't grim rejection, but liberating truth. Seeing the body accurately neutralizes the grasping that fuels unrest, allowing a cleaner, more dignified peace to emerge, where sleep becomes deeper and unencumbered. The practice begins with a mindset of gentle investigation, not disgust. The document emphasizes that Sabha doesn't aim to repulse but to free, by exposing how desire builds fantasies around the body that never satisfy. Lie in bed, eyes closed, breath steady. Start by reflecting on the body's reality beyond appearance. Visualize its layers, outer skin giving way to muscles, veins, fat, then bones, and internals. Contemplate maintenance. The constant need for food, hygiene, repair. None are inherently bad, but none support the illusion of perfection or eternal pleasure. Traditional methods involve mentally dissecting the body into 32 parts, but simplify. Focus on a few, like hair, nails, teeth, skin, feeling their impermanence. Notice how attachment arises, perhaps a subtle craving for beauty or closeness, and see it tied to this form. The act of clear viewing neutralizes shine. The body becomes neutral, neither attractive nor repulsive, just a process. This breaks the cycle where mental imagery before sleep, replaying encounters or imagining outcomes, fuels agitation, as they're rooted in grasping form. Sabha addresses nighttime desires disguised as self-care or relaxation. The document notes that longing for stimulation, comfort, or escape hides attachment to sensual pleasure, keeping the heart tied and mind too active for rest. When fantasies emerge wanting to be held, seen, or powerful, pause and apply Asubha. Contemplate the body's truth. Visualize the object of desire not as idealized but real, aging, decaying, composed of elements that change. This isn't to deny joy but to see pleasure's impermanence. It passes, can't hold peace. The meditation reveals mechanics. Image arises, seduces with promise, delivers unrest because it's never enough. By investigating instead of following, desire turns to wisdom, understanding its futility. Feel the shift. Craving softens, mind quiets, as fuel of delusion dries up. For self-directed attachment wanting to feel strong, attractive, youthful, contemplate your body similarly, neutral, impermanent, not self. This dissolves pressure to maintain an image, ending the whisper, "Am I enough?" You rest because you're no longer performing. Traditional Sabha deepens with visualizing bodily decay stages, from health to aging, death, decomposition. The document calls this liberating, teaching release through understanding the body isn't possessible, not a refuge. Start mildly. Imagine skin wrinkling, hair graying, feeling the truth without fear. This counters ego's tie to form. Wanting health or beauty becomes clinging when extreme. Seen clearly, it neutralizes. Value isn't in appearance but wisdom. The practice fosters dignity, a quiet joy, independent of senses, not dry but whole. At night, when desire disguises as innocent longing, Asubha is essential. Craving for more ties to illusion of form. Seeing through, you're free, not getting what you want, but no longer needing change. Physically, Sabha leads to release. Mind reaching less, body untenses, breath flows freely, as nothing's chased. The document notes rest deepens, free of covering desire. Integrate gradually, 5 to 10 minutes pre-sleep, starting with breath, then body contemplation. If discomfort arises, meet with equanimity. This is truth arising. Avoid extremes. Balance with metta if heavy. Over time, fantasies lose allure. Mind neutralizes pleasure's pull. Challenges. Sabha may feel extreme or unnecessary, clashing with cultural beauty ideals. The document reassures, it's not rejection, but seeing to free. Discomfort is power illusion of pleasure circles you. Piercing it ends the cycle. Use for self-identity. Release wanting to be certain way, as body isn't self. This opens relating, less judging others' forms, more compassion. Sabha transforms desire into wisdom. Investigate mechanics, see promise, agitation cycle. Insight appears. Stop running, just see. The document promises quiet, clean, safe, full of dignity. Sleep natural, nothing chaste. Mind spacious, light. Practice challenges habits but liberates. Subtract illusion, uncover peace always there. In essence, Sabha meets craving directly, revealing body's truth to dissolve attachment. From grasping to neutrality, agitation to openness. Promise freedom, contemplate impurity, desire fades, wisdom dawns. Transforming desire into wisdom. Transforming desire into wisdom through Sabha Bhavana is the culminating insight of meditating on impurity, where investigation replaces indulgence, revealing the mechanics of craving and leading to a profound clarity that liberates the mind from agitation. As the document elucidates, desire often persists even after surface unrest fades, manifesting as a subtle hunger for comfort, stimulation, or sensory pleasure that disguises itself as harmless longing. This layer feels personal and delicate, tied to the body's form and the fantasies it inspires. But unless addressed, it keeps the heart bound and the mind stirred, preventing true rest. Asubha doesn't combat desire with shame or denial. It transforms it by shifting from following impulses to investigating them. You begin to see desire not as an enemy but as a process arising, building, seducing with promises of relief, yet delivering only temporary satisfaction followed by renewed agitation. This experiential understanding turns desire's energy into wisdom, a clear recognition that pleasure is impermanent and unreliable, fostering a release that opens space for a joy independent of the senses. At night, when desire whispers through mental imagery or yearnings, this transformation allows sleep to arise naturally, as the mind no longer chases but abides in truth. The process starts with mindful investigation, turning the lens of awareness onto desire itself. Lie in bed, breath soft, and notice when a craving emerges, perhaps a fantasy of closeness, a replay of a pleasurable interaction, or a subtle wish for physical comfort. Instead of diving in or pushing away, pause and observe its mechanics. How does the image form? What sensations accompany it? Warmth in the chest, a quickened pulse. The document stresses that desire builds through stages. An initial spark, arising from contact or memory, escalation into vivid imagery, seduction with promises of fulfillment, and the inevitable letdown, agitation when it's unfulfilled or fleeting. Label gently. This is desire arising, promising relief. This isn't intellectual dissection but felt insight. Sense the pull, the temporary high, then the underlying emptiness. By not following, you expose the cycle. Desire never truly satisfies because it's rooted in impermanence. This seeing shifts perspective. Stop viewing desire as a path to happiness. Recognize it as a conditioned loop. Wisdom emerges as clarity. This brings unrest, not peace. The heart softens, no longer driven by need. A core method for this transformation is visualizing the stages of bodily decay, a traditional Sabha technique that the document calls deeply liberating despite its grim appearance. Begin with the body in health, vibrant, appealing. then mentally progress to aging, wrinkles forming, energy waning, senses dulling, move to death, the lifeless form, cold and still, then decomposition, flesh breaking down, bones exposed, returning to elements. This isn't to induce fear or revulsion, but to foster understanding. The body is a process, not a permanent refuge. Contemplate. This form I desire or cling to is changing, decaying. It can't be held. Feel the truth viscerally. Beauty fades, pleasure passes. The document notes this teaches release through insight, not terror. Seeing impermanence dissolves the illusion that the body provides lasting joy. Desire transforms. What once seduced now appears neutral. Its promise is empty. Wisdom arises. Attachment to form is futile, leading to a heart that softens in acceptance, free from the pressure to possess or perfect. This wisdom extends to self-identity tied to the body. Desire often revolves around ourselves wanting to feel youthful, strong, attractive, or healthy, which becomes clinging when it dictates worth. Asubha, unraveling, shows the body as neutral and not self. This isn't me, it's elements in flux. Reflect on pressures. Did I do enough today? Am I worthy? See them as rooted in bodily illusion. The meditation reveals value isn't in appearance or sensation, but in awareness itself. Stop playing the game of performance. Rest because you simply are. The document highlights this, dissolves exhaustion from subtle, constant pressure, opening dignity, a peace not built on stimulation, but inner stability. Desire for self-image transforms into wisdom. Recognize fragility, relate with grace, care without possession. Relationally, Sabha changes how you view others' bodies. Less judging, comparing, or needing. Desire for connection, often sensual at night, softens into compassion. Seeing all forms as impermanent reduces grasping. The document assures this doesn't remove joy but deepens it. Peace independent of senses, quiet yet full. Nights shift, craving for more held, seen, loved, surfaces as tied to form's illusion. Seeing through, freedom dawns, not isolation but truth, stability. Practically, integrate Sabha nightly. After settling, contemplate body parts or decay stages for 10 minutes. If desire arises, investigate. How does this build? What does it promise? Feel the agitation follow. Wisdom blooms. Stop running, just see. Balance with loving. Kindness if heavy, wish well-being beyond form. Over time, desires soften, no longer defining or holding. The document promises mind spacious, light, sleep deeper, free of craving. Challenges. Desire feels essential, investigation uncomfortable. Persist, gently discomfort. Signals breakthrough. The document reassures, not forcing away pleasure but seeing clearly. Clarity softens hold. From chasing to allowing, desire becomes wisdom, peace in truth, not illusion. Ultimately, transforming desire redefines rest. Subtract veil, uncover inherent peace. Sabha offers quiet, clean, whole, safe. Sleep, natural, nothing craved, everything allowed. Promise wisdom, investigate, desire dissolve. Overcoming obstacles and integrating shadows, recognizing the 5 hindrances before sleep. Recognizing the 5 hindrances before sleep is essential for identifying the subtle mental obstacles that disrupt inner peace, allowing you to meet them with awareness rather than resistance. In early Buddhist teachings, these hindrances, sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, and doubt, are described as clouds obscuring the mind's natural clarity and concentration. They aren't personal flaws, but universal conditions arising in all minds, functioning as barriers to wholesome states like relaxation and presence. At night, when the mind has no external structure to distract it, these hindrances often emerge in disguised forms, mimicking concern, comfort, or logic. yet their effect is the same. They prevent the deep rest that would otherwise unfold. The document emphasizes that recognizing them is the first step, not to suppress or judge, but to understand their role in disturbing sleep. By seeing them clearly as temporary forces, not choices, you reduce their influence, creating space for balance and equanimity. This recognition turns bedtime from a time of unconscious struggle into mindful navigation, where the mind learns to soften around obstacles, leading to freer, more restorative nights. The 5 hindrances rotate or blend, adapting to the pre-sleep vulnerability when the body is still but the mind clings to the day's momentum. Sensual desire is often the first to appear, not always overtly physical but as a pull toward pleasure or comfort. The document notes it can manifest as mental replays of enjoyable moments, imagining how interactions could have gone better, or craving the right conditions for sleep: more pillows, perfect, quiet, ideal temperature. This isn't loud lust, but subtle grasping, replaying a positive conversation or fantasizing small stories that bring momentary delight. Its function is to pull the mind outward, creating unfinished energy that stirs awareness. Even craving mental comfort, like scrolling thoughts for reassurance, keeps the system active. Recognize it by noticing the movement. Does the thought carry a subtle wanting more? Label gently. This is sensual desire arising. Awareness alone loosens it, as desire thrives on engagement. Without feeding, it fades, allowing the mind to settle inward. Ill will follows, often unexpectedly, triggered by unresolved residues from the day. It might not be intense anger, but a brooding judgment, replaying an argument, criticizing someone or yourself for misunderstandings, or feeling resentment toward a situation that didn't go as hoped. The document describes it as rejection, pushing away what feels wrong, creating friction even if quiet. At night, it tightens the heart, the energy turns sharp, distancing you from relaxation. Recognize it by feeling the contraction. Where does the mind sharpen or blame? Note, ill will is here, rejecting this moment. This acknowledgement prevents following the storyline, reducing its stiffening effect on mental posture. The practice isn't instant forgiveness, but release. Say inwardly, let this be, choosing freedom over rumination. As it passes, the heart softens, opening to peace. Sloth and torpor differ, covering rather than stirring the mind. They mimic rest but create dullness, mental fog, heaviness, or drifting without clarity. The document warns it's not true relaxation, but numbness, eyes closed, thoughts bouncing half-formed, awareness collapsed. Before sleep, it feels like shutting down, but it's avoidance, hiding unrest rather than healing it. Recognize it by sensing the lack of brightness. Is the mind foggy, uninterested? Label. Sloth is present, dulling awareness. Counter with gentle curiosity. Name it to invite wakefulness, not fighting but choosing presence. This distinguishes it from genuine rest, which arises from balance. Restlessness and worry often pair, accelerating the mind like a sprint it can't stop. Thoughts jump from the day to tomorrow to unrelated memories, with the body joining tense shoulders, shallow breath. The document attributes this to cultural overload. Constant stimulation leaves momentum at bedtime. Recognize the speed. Feel the alert system without threat. Note, restlessness is here, pushing to move. Soothe with assurance. It's okay to stop now. This addresses its defensive role, avoiding quieter feelings underneath. As you allow without feeding, it burns out. Doubt creeps in subtly, disconnecting from presence through evaluation. It's not just spiritual uncertainty but self-questioning. Will I sleep? Am I doing this right? Maybe get up. The document calls it logical but distracting, replacing direct experience with analysis. Recognize the evaluation. Is the mind trapped in wondering? Label. Doubt is arising, pulling from now. Resolve through returning to awareness, not answers confidence in presence itself. These hindrances share a root: resistance to what is. The document stresses their conditions, not personal ancient forces in all minds. Recognizing them before sleep through gentle noting reduces power. Lie down, scan. Which cloud is here? Awareness meets them with care, interest, wisdom. Slowly, mind quiets, not control, but understanding. Sleep comes as natural result. Free mind rests. Recognition fosters resilience. See patterns, respond wisely. The document promises hindrances no longer run the night. From disturbance to passage, clarity grows. Promise peace, recognize, and obstacles dissolve. In practice, dedicate pre-sleep moments to scanning, observe without reaction. Over time, presence returns, ground for rest. This sets foundation for overcoming shadows. Ultimately, recognizing hindrances turns bedtime into training. Meet with gentleness, transform agitation to insight. Peace from seeing through, not pushing away. Meeting sensual desire and ill will. Meeting sensual desire and ill will as hindrances before sleep involves a compassionate, non-reactive approach that acknowledges their presence without amplification, allowing the mind to soften and return to balance. These two hindrances, as outlined in the document, are among the 5 obstacles that cloud mental clarity, often arising in tandem or sequentially during the vulnerable transition to rest. Sensual desire pulls the mind toward pleasure and comfort, while ill will pushes it into rejection and criticism. Together, they create a push-pull dynamic that disrupts the natural settling of awareness. The Buddha's teachings emphasize that hindrances aren't to be fought or suppressed, as that only strengthens them. Instead, meet them with recognition and gentle release. By identifying their subtle forms at night, when the mind replays the day or fantasizes escape, you cultivate equanimity, transforming agitation into insight. This meeting doesn't require resolution in the moment, but a steady presence that allows the hindrances to pass, fostering a mind resilient enough for deep, untroubled sleep. Sensual desire, the first hindrance, often masquerades as innocent longing rather than overt lust, making it tricky to spot before bed. The document describes it as a pull toward mental replays or fantasies, revisiting a pleasant interaction, imagining alternate outcomes, or craving sensory comforts like the perfect pillow or temperature. It's not always about the body. It can be a subtle grasping for mental ease, daydreaming stories that bring fleeting joy, or scrolling through memories for reassurance. This desire functions by directing energy outward, creating an unfinished feeling that prevents relaxation. The mind, seeking stimulation, stays stirred. Even positive thoughts carry movement, wanting more of the good. To meet it, first recognize the pull. Notice when attention drifts to pleasurable imagery or conditions. Label softly. This is sensual desire arising, seeking comfort. The document advises against erasure. Just see it for what it is, a temporary mental event pulling you from presence. This awareness loosens its grasp as desire thrives on unconscious indulgence. Gently redirect. Return to the breath or body sensations, allowing the desire to fade without judgment. Over time, this non-engagement reveals its futility. Pleasure is impermanent, unable to sustain peace. A key skill in meeting sensual desire is understanding its role in avoidance. At night, it often distracts from underlying discomforts, like unresolved emotions or the fear of silence. The document notes that it mimics comfort, but creates subtle agitation. The energy of wanting keeps the nervous system alert. Practice by feeling the body's response. Does the desire bring warmth or tension? Observe without following the fantasy. Watch how it builds, peaks, and subsides when not fed. This insight transforms the hindrance. Instead of a compelling force, it becomes a passing cloud. Pair with equanimity. Treat the desire neutrally, neither good nor bad, just arising due to conditions. The Buddha taught that hindrances are not self-conditioned, not personal. so release identification. This isn't my desire, it's arising and will pass. This detachment prevents escalation, allowing the mind to settle into openness where rest can emerge. Ill will, the second hindrance, counters desire's pull with aversion, often arising when unresolved negativity surfaces in the quiet. It doesn't need to be explosive. The document portrays it as brooding, replaying judgments, blaming others or self, or feeling a dull ache of rejection. Before sleep, it might trigger from a day's slight. That person didn't understand me, turning inward as self-criticism or outward as resentment. This creates distance and stiffness. The heart tightens, mental posture rigidifies, making relaxation impossible. Ill will's energy is rejection, pushing away the unwanted, generating friction even in silence. To meet it, recognize the contraction, feel where the mind sharpens or the body tenses. Label. Ill will is here, rejecting this experience. The document stresses not to convince yourself to forgive immediately, that builds pressure, but to allow it space. Let this be. This release isn't permission for harm, but freedom from the story. By not following the narrative rehearsing blame or defense, you prevent it from snowballing. Meeting ill will requires compassion, as it's often a defense against vulnerability. At night, it protects from feeling exposed or inadequate, but clinging to it only prolongs suffering. The document suggests observing its texture. How does it feel in the body? A heavy chest, furrowed brow. Breathe into it gently, noting the impermanence. This feeling arose from conditions and will pass. This aligns with non-self. Ill will isn't you but a conditioned response. Redirect energy wisely. Recall a neutral or positive aspect, or practice metta, loving kindness. Briefly, may I be free from this aversion. This softens the heart without force, dissolving the hindrance's grip. Equanimity aids. Treat ill will equally to other states, neither clinging nor averting. Over sessions, it loses intensity. As awareness exposes its emptiness, rejection doesn't protect, it isolates. Both hindrances benefit from unified practice. When desire pulls, ill will may push in reaction. The document notes their shared root in resistance to what is. Meet them together by scanning the mind. Is there wanting or rejecting? Note, without drama, returning to presence. This builds resilience. Hindrances become familiar visitors, not rulers. Physically, meeting them leads to release, breath deepens, body relaxes as energy no longer fuels them. Challenges. Hindrances feel justified, like necessary worry or harmless fantasy. The document reassures. See their disturbance, choose gentleness, start small, one hindrance per night. Over time, mind quiets through understanding, not control. This meeting fosters wisdom. Hindrances as conditions, met with care, pass. Sleep natural, unclouded mind rests. Promise clarity, meet, and peace prevails. In essence, sensual desire and ill will, met mindfully, transform from disruptors to teachers, from pull-push to balance. Nights heal. Addressing sloth, restlessness, and doubt. Addressing sloth, restlessness, and doubt as hindrances before sleep requires a nuanced approach of gentle awareness and wise response, transforming these mental clouds into opportunities for clarity and balance. These three hindrances, part of the 5 obstacles in Buddhist teachings, often dominate nighttime when the mind lacks daytime distractions, preventing the deep relaxation needed for rest. Sloth and torpor create dullness that mimics sleep but hides unrest. Restlessness and worry accelerate the mind into futile activity. Doubt disconnects through endless questioning. The document stresses they're not personal failings, but conditioned states. Address them not by force, which adds tension, but by recognition and skillful redirection. This fosters equanimity, allowing the mind to return to presence. By addressing them mindfully, you interrupt their cycle, cultivating a resilient awareness where sleep emerges naturally from a clear, unburdened state. Sloth and torpor, the third hindrance, cover the mind like a veil, producing heaviness and fog that feel like rest but lack true clarity. The document distinguishes them from genuine relaxation. Sloth is collapse, not balance, mental numbness where thoughts drift without sharpness, awareness dulls, and the mind shuts down superficially. Before sleep, this might appear as lying with eyes closed, bouncing between half-thoughts and semi-dreams, tempting you to think it's progress toward rest. But it's avoidance, hiding deeper tensions rather than resolving them. Address sloth by noticing its texture, sense the lack of brightness, the foggy drift. Label gently, dullness is here. The document advises against fighting, as that invites tension instead. Bring soft curiosity. Ask inwardly, what is this heaviness covering? This invites interest, sparking wakeful awareness without over-effort. Redirect by focusing on a neutral anchor, like the breath's rise and fall, or open your eyes briefly to reorient. Physically, sit up slightly if needed, but keep it minimal. The goal is presence over alertness. Over time, this distinguishes sloth from rest. True sleep arises from equilibrium, not numbness. Equanimity helps. Treat dullness neutrally as a passing state, reducing its hold. As sloth lifts, restlessness and worry, the fourth hindrance may surge, speeding the mind like an engine that won't idle. The document links this to cultural habits. Information overload and tasks leave momentum, so by bedtime, the mind sprints mentally while the body lies still. Restlessness jumps thoughts, from daily recaps to future plans, random memories, with worry tagging along as what-ifs. The body mirrors, shallow breath, tense muscles, urge to move. It's alert without threat, often defending against underlying emotions by staying busy. Address by feeling the speed. Observe the nervous energy, the shallow pulse. Label, restlessness is arising, pushing to move. The document suggests assuring the mind, it's okay to stop now. This message matters, as restlessness is protective, avoiding vulnerability by filling space. Don't suppress. Allow it, while not feeding. Watch thoughts race without joining. Redirect to the body. Ground in sensations like feet on the bed or hands' weight. Breathe deeper, exhaling the momentum. Wisdom lies in seeing its root, resistance to quiet. As you permit without engagement, it burns out, like a fire without fuel. Equanimity aids. View the speed impartially, knowing it passes. Doubt, the fifth hindrance, subtly erodes by trapping in evaluation, disconnecting from direct experience. The document portrays it as logical but insidious, not just, will I sleep, but, am I practicing right? Maybe another method. It replaces being with wondering, analyzing breath instead of feeling it, questioning posture instead of settling. This pulls from now into mental loops, fostering disconnection. Address by recognizing the questioning, feel the shift to evaluation. Label, doubt is here, evaluating. The document warns against resolving with answers, as that feeds concepts. Return to presence. Anchor in the immediate. What is happening now? This rebuilds confidence in awareness, not outcomes. Doubt thrives on separation. Direct experience dissolves it. Equanimity treats it as transient. Neither believe nor reject, just see. Over time, trust grows. Awareness suffices. No perfect method needed. These hindrances interconnect. Sloth hides restlessness. Doubt amplifies worry. Address collectively by scanning which is dominant. Meet with care. Label, observe, redirect. The document notes shared resistance to what is. Awareness cuts this. Physically, addressing leads to softening. Breath evens, body calms. Challenges, they feel natural. Sloth as rest. Restlessness as preparation. Doubt as reason. See through, they disturb, not help. Start brief, one hindrance nightly. This addressing builds skill. Hindrances become signals for presence. The document promises, seen and allowed, they pass. Mind frees. sleep as result. Balanced awareness rests. Promise clarity. Address. Peace follows. Ultimately, sloth, restlessness, doubt, addressed mindfully, shift from blocks to gateways, from dullness to brightness, speed to calm, question to trust. Nights heal through understanding. In practice, pre-sleep scan, notice, label, release. Over time, hindrances weaken, clarity strengthens, peace from within, unshakable. Suy cho Jinzai. Chapter 4. Overcoming obstacles and integrating shadows. Section 4. Facing the inner saboteur, Mara. Facing the inner saboteur, personified in Buddhist texts as Mara, is a crucial practice for confronting the self-doubt, fear, and sabotage that linger even after other hindrances have been addressed, turning these voices into opportunities for presence and integration. As the document explains, Mara isn't an external demon but an internal adversary, the voice of illusion that embodies pride, despair, and resistance to growth. The Buddha encountered Mara repeatedly, not just at enlightenment but in moments of solitude, where it challenged his right to peace with whispers like, "You're not worthy," or "This stillness is false." Similarly, at night, when the room is quiet and the mind exposed, this saboteur emerges subtly. "You're not doing enough. Who are you fooling? Or you'll never change." It borrows your tone, memories, and fears, sounding like your own thoughts to undermine rest and clarity. Facing it isn't about destruction or debate, as the Buddha modeled by simply acknowledging, "I see you, Mara." This recognition dissolves its power, transforming sabotage into shadow integration, a process of welcoming hidden parts without collapse. By facing Mara before sleep, you shift from being controlled by doubt to witnessing it, fostering a resilient presence where rest becomes natural, unthreatened by internal voices. The inner saboteur thrives in hidden corners, growing stronger when ignored or fought. The document portrays it as arising from old patterns, survival habits learned in childhood or inherited from culture, where rest felt dangerous or vulnerability meant risk. It's not malicious, but protective in origin, shielding from pain by stirring doubt or despair. At bedtime, it might manifest as a familiar whisper after a day of effort, "You're still not okay," or an impulse to distract with your phone. These aren't random. They're echoes of deeper fears, loss of control, failure, or unworthiness. To face it, start with curiosity. When the voice arises, ask, "Who is speaking? What is this protecting?" This shifts from identification, "This is me," doubting, to observation, "This is a voice arising." The document draws from the sutras, where the Buddha never debated Mara but acknowledged him, leading to dissolution. Practice similarly. Lie still. Notice the sabotage. "I hear this fear of failing," without agreeing or arguing. This witnessing unravels its foundation, as illusions can't withstand clear light. Shadow integration is the heart of this facing, allowing difficult psyche parts to surface without overpowering you. The document describes Mara as carrying cultural, familial, or ancestral weights, voices of generations who couldn't rest safely. When you witness with care, you interrupt cycles, healing not just yourself but lineage patterns. Integration means intimacy. Stay close to the voice's texture, how it feels in the body. Tight throat, heavy heart, its linked memories or beliefs. Don't replace with positivity. Listen fully, tracing roots. For example, a sabotaging thought like, "You'll never sleep well," might stem from past insomnia, reinforcing inadequacy. See it. This protects from disappointment. This compassion, neither collapsing nor rejecting, reduces its edge. The saboteur becomes a visitor, not the host. You recognize it. "Ah, you again." Like the Buddha under the Bodhi tree, say inwardly, "I see you," and watch the power fade. Practically, this facing occurs in quiet moments before sleep, when voices amplify in silence. The document advises not silencing but facing gently. Acknowledge content without belief. If it's an urge, get up, distract. See it as shadow expression. What fear does this avoid? Stay, breathe, soften. This builds resilience. Voices persist, but don't scare or shake. Over time you smile at them. Familiar guests, no longer rulers. The Buddha's unwavering presence, truth, stillness, clarity outlasted Mara. Emulate by returning to awareness, big enough to hold fear without reaction. Physically, facing eases tension. As sabotage is seen, body relaxes, breath deepens, muscles unclench, signaling safety. Challenges, the voice feels true, facing it vulnerable. The document reassures, it's habitual energy, not reality. Start small, one voice nightly, build intimacy. No war, but welcome to stop its fight. Integration means allowing to step into light, seen as echoes of pain, not threats. This psychological blueprint from the Buddha's encounters offers freedom, sabotage, as invitation to meet yourself fully. Mara's visits remind, growth invites resistance. The document notes even post. Enlightenment, Mara appeared facing, is ongoing. Use as refuge, presence holds all doubts. Sleep natural, struggle ends, moment open. From sabotage to shadow work, nights heal. Facing the inner saboteur embodies Buddhist depth, not destroy but outlast with truth. Promise presence, face, and freedom dawns. In facing, recognize timeless self, untouched by voices. The document calls it unwavering, know what's real. Lie down, voices rise, return to presence, not escape, refuge. Ultimately, Mara met with clarity, ends isolation. You're part of vast awareness, held beyond doubt, peace from welcoming, not winning. Shadow integration through acknowledgement. Shadow integration through acknowledgement is the profound process of embracing the hidden, often painful aspects of the psyche that the inner saboteur, Mara, represents, transforming self-sabotage into wholeness by meeting these parts with presence rather than resistance. As the document illustrates, even after addressing the 5 hindrances and facing Mara's whispers, a subtle voice may linger, not from craving or doubt, but from deep-seated patterns rooted in fear, trauma, or conditioning. This shadow isn't an enemy to eradicate, but a fragmented part once protective, now outdated, surfacing at night when defenses drop. Integration means allowing it into awareness without overpowering or denying it, acknowledging its existence as the first step to healing. The Buddha's encounters with Mara model this. Simple recognition, I see you without debate or destruction, leading to dissolution. By acknowledging the shadow before sleep, you interrupt cycles of avoidance, fostering intimacy with your full self. This turns vulnerability into strength, where rest becomes a space of unity, unthreatened by inner division, and sleep arises from a mind at peace with all its parts. Acknowledgement begins with non-judgmental recognition, treating the shadow as a visitor rather than intruder. The document describes the saboteur as borrowing your vocabulary, you're pretending, or you'll fail again, drawing from old wounds like childhood fears of inadequacy or ancestral patterns of unrest. At bedtime, it might appear as an urge to distract, checking phone, or a whisper of despair. What's the point? To integrate, pause when it arises, name it softly. This is the shadow speaking, born from past pain. This isn't agreement, but visibility, bringing it from unconscious sabotage to conscious awareness. The key is curiosity. Explore its texture without analysis. How does it feel? Constricting chest, heavy limbs, what memory echoes? The document stresses this intimacy. Stay close, trace roots, like to. This doubt protects from rejection. Acknowledgement validates without empowering. I hear you. You're here to shield me. This compassion reduces its intensity, as shadows thrive in denial or battle. Fighting makes them louder, ignoring lets them fester. Integration deepens as acknowledgement reveals the shadow's protective origins. Often, it's a survival mechanism. the voice that kept you safe by doubting joy to avoid disappointment, or urging distraction to evade loneliness. The document notes it's not malice but pain, perhaps from times when rest meant vulnerability to criticism or loss. By acknowledging, "You honor this. Thank you for trying to protect, but I no longer need this." This reframes the shadow from saboteur to ally outgrown, interrupting generational cycles. You're witnessing heals inherited fears of unworthiness or unsafety. Practice nightly. Lie still, invite what arises, acknowledge. "I see this fear of exposure." No fixing. Presence holds it. Over time, the shadow integrates. Once separate, it becomes part of the whole, losing disruptive power. The Buddha's clarity under the Bodhi tree exemplifies. Unwavering acknowledgement turned Mara's assaults into passing illusions. Physically, integration through acknowledgement manifests in release. As you name the shadow, tension eases, breath deepens, body softens, signaling the nervous system's recognition of safety. The document highlights that voices or urges to escape stillness are shadow expressions. Meet them without turning away. If an impulse arises, get up, ruminate, acknowledge. This is shadow, avoiding depth. What am I afraid to feel? Stay, breathe into it. This builds trust. The shadow, seen kindly, stops fighting for attention. Equanimity supports. Treat it neutrally, as conditioned arising, not bad. Over sessions, resilience grows. Voices persist, but don't dominate. You know them. Smile. Ah, familiar echo. Challenges include resistance. The shadow feels real or overwhelming. The document reassures. It's energy, not truth. Acknowledgement diffuses by exposing. Start small. One aspect nightly. Build to fuller integration. No emotionless detachment. It's engaged presence, welcoming to heal. The Buddha didn't fix Mara, he outlasted with truth. Emulate. Return to awareness, big enough for all parts. This psychological work aligns with Dharma. Shadows as illusions, dissolved in light. Integration's fruit is wholeness. Mind undivided, rest profound. The document promises, struggle ends, presence holds everything. Sleep as continuation open, free. From fragmentation to unity, night sacred. Shadow integration redefines self. Not win against dark, but welcome it. The document calls it interrupting lifetime's cycles. Your care heals beyond you. In stillness, shadows surface as invitations. Meet fully, offer light. Ultimately, acknowledgement turns sabotage to strength. Pain echoes become integrated wisdom. Peace from embracing all. Rest in completeness. In practice, pre-sleep, pause. Acknowledge arising shadows. No declaration, quiet seeing. Over time, self becomes refuge, untouched by division. This completes shadow work. From facing to integrating, psyche heals. Promise wholeness, acknowledge, shadows dissolve into light. Advanced practices for liberation and rest. Navigating mental realms as inner states. Navigating mental realms as inner states offers a profound way to understand the shifting landscapes of the mind, recognizing them not as literal places, but as psychological experiences that influence perception and rest. In Buddhist cosmology, the 31 realms from hells to formless absorptions are traditionally rebirth destinations based on karma, but the document reframes them as internal states visited moment to moment, especially at night when the mind lacks external anchors. These realms aren't fixed punishments or rewards but fluid mindsets. One moment trapped in despair, hell, the next drifting instinctively, animal, or floating in deceptive bliss, Hod. Before sleep, as thoughts unfold without structure, you cycle through them, starting in worry, dropping into dullness, rising to fantasy, crashing into judgment. Navigating means seeing each as a realm, a temporary abode, not your identity. This awareness allows stepping out, recognize the state, respond wisely, and shift toward balance. By doing so, you transform pre-sleep volatility into growth, where rest arises from grounded presence rather than escape, fostering liberation from reactive cycles. The lower realms embody suffering's intensity, arising when aversion or confusion dominates. Hell realms aren't fiery tortures, but mental burning, regret replaying painfully, self-judgment torturing the mind, friction from resistance feeling inescapable. The document notes the heat as internal tightness from clinging to pain. At night, this surfaces as I can't let go of that mistake, the mind trapped in loops. Navigate by recognizing this is a hell realm aversion extreme. Compassion counters, offer kindness to the suffering self. Like, this pain is conditioned, it passes. This breaks permanence's illusion, allowing exit. No punishment. It's a state you pass through. Awareness of impermanence shifts. See the burning as temporary, not defining. The animal realm follows, heavy and instinctual, lacking reflection. Here, the mind operates automatically, drifting through habits, repeating dialogues, fantasizing in circles without depth. The document calls it undeveloped awareness, comfortable but unconscious, like mechanical thinking at bedtime. You might scroll memories endlessly, no questions asked. Navigate by awakening curiosity. Where am I now? What is this thought made of? This injects reflection, returning to consciousness. From instinct to intentionality, the realm dissolves. Recognize the dull repetition. This is animal state habit without insight. Gentle inquiry opens the door to higher awareness, preventing sink into numbness. Hungry ghost realm involves desperate craving, a hollow never filled. Desire turns insatiable, reaching for comfort or attention, but satisfaction slips away. At night, it's chasing peace through thoughts, yet it evades fantasies start fulfilling but leave emptiness. The document ties it to dissatisfaction. Even craving sleep perpetuates the ghost's hunger. Navigate by feeling the void fully. This emptiness signals cravings lie. Turn to what's here: breath, body, moment's simplicity. Stop outward looking. The hunger fades. Recognize ghost realm endless want. This halts the chase, grounding in presence. The human realm provides balance, marked by craving and loss but offering reflection. Here, the mind is present, open to joy and pain without extremes. Thoughts feel thoughtful, not reactive. You reflect on the day with equanimity. The document calls it growth's ground, choices direct attention. If here, stay alert. Human state opportunity for insight. Don't rush. Use for transformation. Contemplate impermanence or kindness. This realm stabilizes, bridging lower turmoil to higher calm. God realms bring deceptive bliss, unstable due to subtle superiority. Everything feels easy. I've figured it out, the mind whispers, floating in prideful satisfaction. The document warns of complacency, believing transcendence without honesty. At night, it's smug calm after good meditation, but attachment to it invites collapse. Navigate with humility. God realm pride masking fragility. Ground in body or breath. Is this useful? Rooted or entertainment? Remember, awareness must stay active. Status doesn't sustain peace. Recognize the thin wall. Bliss passes, revealing resistance. Higher formless realms offer vast silence, infinite awareness, or dissolution of boundaries, powerful but not liberation. The document cautions against attachment. They're states, not ends. Clinging turns them to traps. At night, they might arise as unity or spaceless quiet tempting to chase. Navigate by holding lightly. Formless state touch and release. Use as resting points, not goals. If arising, allow without grasping. Wisdom sees them as impermanent. Navigating involves noticing shifts, each rebirth experientially held to ghost, human to God. The document stresses seeing the architecture. Recognize realm as realm. Step out. Respond. compassion for hell, simplicity for ghost, curiosity for animal, humility for God. This awareness frees, no longer trapped in story, you choose presence. At night, cycles intensify. Start in restlessness, drop to dullness, rise to fantasy. Navigate by pausing. What realm now? This meta view dissolves identification. The document promises, seeing allows wise shifts, transformation possible. Practice. Lie down. Observe mind's tone burning, drifting, hungry, balanced, blissful, vast. Label. Respond. Over time, freedom grows. Realms as landscapes, not prisons. Navigating teaches mind's fluidity, peace in presence. From reaction to recognition, sleep deepens unburdened by states. In essence, realms as inner navigate with awareness, liberate from cycles, promise insight, observe, step beyond. Monastic dreamwork for subconscious healing. Monastic dreamwork for subconscious healing is an ancient Buddhist approach that treats dreams not as random occurrences or distractions, but as integral to the path, offering a nightly dialogue between the conscious mind and deeper layers of the psyche. As the document elucidates, in monastic traditions, dreams are viewed as reflections of karma, habits, and unresolved impressions that surface when the waking mind releases control. This practice, drawn from Theravada lineages like Burmese and Thai forest traditions, involves actively engaging with dream content to integrate the subconscious, rewriting old scripts of fear, inadequacy, or attachment that perpetuate mental noise. Unlike modern dream analysis focused on symbolism or prophecy, monastic dream work emphasizes mindfulness and wisdom, remembering the dream, reflecting on its essence, and responding with skillful awareness. For those struggling with restless sleep, this transforms the night from passive unconsciousness to active healing dreams, become a canvas where surface awareness meets hidden patterns, allowing transformation without force. By working with dreams monastically, you interrupt reactive cycles, fostering a mind fluent in its inner language, where rest deepens as the subconscious aligns with clarity and compassion. The foundation of monastic dreamwork lies in the 3 steps: remembering, reflecting, and responding, turning the ephemeral nature of dreams into tangible insight. Remembering begins upon waking. Resist dismissing fragments. Sit quietly and hold images, emotions, or tones in mind. The document advises keeping a notebook bedside, not for detailed analysis, but to support memory, jotting key symbols or feelings. This trains the mind to value what arises beneath the surface, bridging waking and dreaming states. In monasteries, practitioners cultivate this through intention, adhitthana, before sleep. Silently resolve, may the mind show what needs seeing with clarity and kindness. This isn't a command, but a soft anchor, priming the subconscious to reveal rather than conceal. If lucidity occurs, awareness within the dream, practice simple noting, seeing, hearing, thinking. This brings mindfulness into the dream realm, shaping how the mind processes material even in non-lucid states. Over time, recollection strengthens, turning forgotten nights into sources of wisdom. Reflecting shifts from recall to sensing the dream's core, focusing on tone over narrative. The document emphasizes not linear meaning but experiential essence. What emotions dominated? Fear, confusion, attachment. What patterns repeated? Helplessness, endless effort, exposure. In forest traditions, senior monks interpret for juniors, not as fortune-telling but path guidance. Broken structures might symbolize mental deconstruction, fruit ripening practice, darkness to dawn a breakthrough. Apply this personally. Upon waking, feel the body's residue. A tight chest from a fearful dream signals unresolved anxiety. Reflect without forcing symbols. This dream shows clinging to control. This uncovers subconscious scripts, stories of not enough, unsafety, or failure that drive daytime reactivity and nighttime unrest. Dreams aren't distractions, they're teachings, like the Buddha's own. Pre-awakening, he dreamed of undisturbed sitting, post-enlightenment, recalling past lives and illusions. Your dreams too teach, symbolic but reflective, guiding toward freedom. Responding completes the work, meeting the dream's energy with awareness rather than reaction. The document outlines, for fear, offer compassion, confusion, clarity, attachment, spaciousness. This isn't control but integration, allowing the unconscious to become conscious. If a dream replays failure, respond by visualizing a new ending, not forcing success, but introducing acceptance or safety. This rewires scripts gently. Old narratives surface to be healed, not haunt. In practice, sit post-dream and hold the image. Then infuse with wholesome qualities, metta for shame, equanimity for chaos. The document notes this affects daily life. Reactions soften, thoughts less automatic, as subconscious terrain changes. Humility is key. The subconscious operates on its schedule, bringing what you're ready for. A painful dream isn't failure, but exposure, leading to release. Treat each as a gift, symbols as messages from inner landscape. Monastic methods enhance this. In Burmese, Thai traditions, dreams guide practice interpret as signs of progress or blocks. Use adhitthana nightly, firm resolution to see clearly. For lucidity, note mindfully within the dream. The document stresses dreams as part of the journey, not feared but welcomed, each image a chance to meet yourself deeper. The Buddha's symbolic dreams, vast mountain undisturbed remind. Dreams teach resilience and illusion. This dream work heals subconsciously. Old karmic impressions release through new endings, safety over fear, calm over panic. The document promises, interrupt reactivity, change terrain. No brainwashing, offer possibilities within awareness. Over time, fluency grows. Recurring themes, falling, exposure, as personal symbols, shaped by life, karma. Incorporate, set intention, pre-sleep, recall upon waking, reflect on tone, respond skillfully. Notebook aids memory, tradition guides without rigid interpretation. Dreams become meditation, attend, transform gently. Subconscious healing through dream work aligns surface, depth, nightly dialogue shapes becoming. The document calls it transformation from inside out, presence within dreams realm. Ultimately, monastic dream work turns sleep into sacred work, from random to reflective, unrest to integration. Promise healing, engage dreams, subconscious awakens. In essence, this practice makes night a teacher. Remember, reflect, respond, heal layers, rest deepens, peace from dialogue, not dominance. Abandoning mental taints, Sibasa Sutta. Abandoning mental taints, as taught in the Sibasa Sutta, is a systematic Buddhist method for eradicating the underlying defilements that perpetuate suffering, particularly the subtle intoxicants that arise before sleep and prevent the mind from settling into peace. Found in the Majjhima Nikaya, the sutta translated as all the taints refers to asavas as leaks or outflows, like poison seeping from a wound, representing deep patterns of craving, becoming, views, and ignorance that distort reality and sustain unrest. These taints are not superficial emotions, but ingrained mental stains that make peace feel earned rather than allowed, often manifesting at night as anxiety, dissatisfaction, or the persistent belief that something is wrong. The Buddha provides 7 practical methods for their abandonment, not as a rigid sequence but as adaptable tools, depending on how the taints show up. This approach is eminently applicable, requiring no special status, just sincerity. By employing these methods in the evening, you create a ritual of inner cleansing, flushing out the residues of the day so that sleep can emerge from a state of lightness and freedom rather than forced suppression or distraction. The first method is abandonment through seeing, dasani paha abba, which targets taints arising from delusion or lack of insight. Some defilements, the Buddha explains, are relinquished simply by recognizing them clearly, without force. For example, if a taint of craving for sleep appears as I must rest now, or tomorrow is ruined, see it as a mental formation born of ignorance, not an absolute truth. The document emphasizes that this seeing is not intellectual, but direct. Observe the taint's nature, its impermanence, its conditioned arising, and it loses its hold. Before bed, practice by quietly inspecting the mind. What is present right now? Is this worry a fact or a distortion? This clarity acts like light dispelling darkness, revealing how taints thrive on confusion. By seeing them as they are transient and not self, you prevent them from escalating into full-blown agitation. This method aligns with the Sutta's focus on wholesome reflection, turning the pre-sleep tenderness into an opportunity for discernment. The second method is restraint, samara paha abba, abandoning taints by guarding the sense doors to prevent unwholesome influences from entering. Taints often arise from unguarded contact with sights, sounds, or thoughts that stir craving or aversion. The document connects this to indriya samvara, the discipline of sense restraint. In the evening, this means consciously choosing not to engage with stimulating content, avoid revisiting the day's conflicts, or allowing the mind to wander into fantasy. Restrain by focusing on the present breath or body, saying inwardly, I will not feed this unrest. This isn't suppression but wise protection, like closing a gate to keep out pollutants. By restraining, you create a buffer, ensuring that new taints don't compound the old, allowing the mind to remain lighter as sleep approaches. The third method is wise use, pativrata paha abba, where taints are abandoned by using requisites, food, clothing, shelter, and medicine in a way that supports health and clarity, not indulgence or attachment. Extend this to mental requisites. How are you using your thoughts, breath, or bedtime environment? If attachment to comfort breeds dissatisfaction, use them moderately for sustenance, not excess. The document notes, this turns everyday items into tools for awakening. Reflect, is this use leading to freedom or more clinging? Before sleep, apply by simplifying your routine. Use the bed for rest, not rumination, abandoning taints rooted in misuse. The fourth method is endurance, adhyasana paha abba, for taints that persist and must be borne with patience. Some defilements, like physical discomfort or mental irritation, don't vanish immediately. They test, resolve. The Buddha advises enduring them without reaction, developing forbearance. At night, if tension or doubt lingers, endure it. I can bear this without lashing out or escaping. The document portrays this as holding your seat amid the storm, building inner strength. Endurance isn't passive suffering but active non-reactivity, allowing the taint to exhaust itself. The fifth method is avoidance, paruvyana paha abba, wisely steering clear of conditions that provoke taints. This is proactive. If certain thoughts or memories trigger craving or aversion, avoid them. The document clarifies it's not repression but discernment. Don't dwell on harmful topics before bed. Choose environments and mental paths that support wholesomeness, preventing taints from taking root. The sixth method is removal, vinodana paha abba, actively dispelling arisen taints through counteractive measures. Use specific antidotes. For lust, contemplate impurity. For ill will, loving kindness. If restlessness builds, remove it by reflecting on impermanence or calm. The document describes this as mental work replace unwholesome with wholesome, transforming the mind's direction. The seventh method is development, bhavana paha abba, cultivating the 7 factors of enlightenment, mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, equanimity to uproot taints at their core. This is ongoing. Develop mindfulness to spot taints early, tranquility to calm them. Before sleep, Recall these qualities, breathing them in. The document sees this as replacing defilements with their opposites, a positive building that makes taints obsolete. These methods are not exhaustive, but comprehensive, covering all taints. The sutta promises the destruction of asavas leads to liberation, but even partial application reduces suffering. At night, adapt. Use seeing for confusion, endurance for persistence. The document ties this to evening reflection. Cleanse the mind for a fresh start. In practice, begin by identifying the taint craving sleep, ignorance of change, then apply the fitting method. Over time, the mind becomes less reactive, more trusting. Sleep shifts from struggle to natural flow, as taints no longer leak into awareness. The Sibbasa Sutta is a map for mental purity, emphasizing discernment and effort. By abandoning taints, you end the cycle of unease, inviting a rest that is deep and healing. Grounding with the earth-touching mudra. Grounding with the earth-touching mudra, or Bhumisparsha mudra, serves as a powerful anchor for stability and certainty, helping to resolve lingering vulnerability and doubt after releasing mental taints and other defilements. As depicted in the document, this gesture, extending the right hand downward to touch the ground, symbolizes the Buddha's call upon the earth as witness during his enlightenment, when Mara challenged his right to awaken. It's not mere symbolism, but a functional practice, a physical expression of inner alignment, affirming your place in reality without need for justification. After practices like abandoning taints or integrating shadows, a sense of exposure may remain a subtle need to feel held by something larger. The mudra addresses this by grounding the mind in the present, not emotionally or conceptually, but through bodily sensation. Before bed, it bridges effort to surrender, reminding that peace is supported by life's nature, not earned through striving. This creates a final threshold to rest, where the body feels safe, the mind releases control, and sleep becomes a return to vast, unshakable presence. The mudra's essence lies in its simplicity and directionality, evoking the earth's quiet memory and solidity. The document recounts the Buddha's response to Mara's accusations of no validation. He didn't argue but touched the ground, letting the earth affirm his awakening. Similarly, at night, when doubt whispers, "You haven't done enough," or "You're not ready for peace," the mudra counters with grounded truth. "I belong here now." To practice, sit beside your bed or lie down, extending the right hand toward the floor, fingers pointing down, palm inward. You needn't physically touch. It's the gesture's weight and intention that matter. Feel the downward pull, aligning body with gravity's support. This isn't magic, but remembrance. You're held by something ancient, beyond thought. The earth receives everything: sorrow, fear, joy without comment, teaching release. Silently affirm, "This peace is mine, not because I earned it, but because I no longer resist." This humble recognition dissolves entitlement, stepping into stillness as inherent. Grounding extends beyond the physical pose to an internal shift, reconnecting with the element of earth among the four: earth, water, fire, air. The document notes earth as the most reliable bones. Skin, ground beneath, symbolize structure and stability. Invoke by sensing your body's weight on the bed, the pull of gravity, contact points with sheets. This sensation grounds. I am here, alive, supported. No floating in abstract efforts. You're rooted in tangible reality. If emotions surge uncertainty from the day's residues, let the mudra hold them. Earth absorbs without opinion. This resolves final energies blocking sleep, guilt, disconnection, the sense of not belonging. The mudra affirms, stillness is your right, part of life's fabric. In deeper application, the mudra invokes witness. Earth knows your struggles, carries your history, yet asks nothing. The document portrays it as calling a silent ally when ego doubts, "Am I worthy of rest?" The gesture responds, "Yes, as you are." Practice as ritual. Pause pre-bed, breathe, extend hand or awareness downward. Feel settling, Mind quiets, body aligns. If sitting, let fingers brush floor. Lying, visualize the touch. Repeat. This night I rest with earth as witness, no past to fix, future to control, just now. Emotions arise, allow. Mudra holds what you release. This transforms sleep, from slipping unconsciously to releasing into connection. Body safe, mind unheld, you arrive at rest. The mudra's strength lies in resolving isolation. Doubt thrives in separation. Grounding reconnects to wider presence. The document emphasizes you're part of something. Vast Earth's patience mirrors your potential for stillness. In difficult nights, sharp fear, strong doubt, it's the final posture. Doesn't solve but dissolves aloneness. You're held by awareness encompassing all. No special knowledge. Sincerity suffices. Place body in harmony. Let go of holding inner world. Physically, grounding shifts. Weight sinks, breath steadies, tension melts. The document notes earth as solid refuge. Invoke 4 elements, but earth anchors form. Visualize, hand touching, energy flowing down, releasing burdens. This eases nervous system, signaling safety. Challenges. Gesture feels formal or ineffective. The document reassures it's alignment, not performance. Start brief, build intention. Over time, vulnerability turns to strength, peace from connection, not isolation. The mudra embodies Buddha's enlightenment. Ground beyond doubt, awakening supported by existence. No defense, turn downward, find unshakable. Nights, doubt rises, touch earth, affirm belonging. Stillness beneath, within. Grounding completes liberation practices. After taints abandoned, shadows integrated, mudra anchors. From exposure to held, rest profound. In practice, prepare bed, pause, gesture, affirm, let unfold, earth witnesses. Ultimately, Bhumisparsha mudra grounds in truth. Peace inherent, earth affirms. Promise stability. Ground, rest, returns. Cultivating the 10 perfections for wholeness. Cultivating the 10 perfections, or paramos, is a transformative practice that invokes timeless qualities of the heart to achieve wholeness, providing a foundation of inner strength and balance that supports deep rest and liberation. As the document describes, the paramis: generosity, virtue, renunciation, wisdom, energy, patience, truthfulness, determination, loving kindness, and equanimity are not abstract ideals, but living energies within everyone, perfected by the Buddha over lifetimes to prepare for awakening. They represent the architecture of a mature mind, countering fragmentation and lack by fostering completeness. After more advanced practices like abandoning taints or grounding with mudra, the mind may feel spacious yet vulnerable, seeking wholeness. The paramis address this by filling awareness with virtuous qualities, turning pre-sleep moments into a sacred invocation. This isn't performance but embodiment. Visualize each perfection as a lived moment, allowing its essence to resonate. By cultivating them nightly, you shift from a scattered heart to one aligned and full, where sleep becomes a continuation of this wholeness, unburdened by division, and peace arises as the natural state of a mind no longer lacking. Begin with generosity, dana, the perfection of giving without expectation. This isn't limited to material gifts, but includes emotional openness, offering kindness, time, or forgiveness. Before bed, visualize an act of giving, your hands extending something needed, heart open, the receiver eased. Feel the spaciousness, no clinging, no hoarding, just freedom in abundance. The document portrays it as inner richness. Let this echo, dissolving any sense of scarcity from the day. Generosity counters self-centeredness, creating wholeness by connecting you to others. Rest in its warmth. The mind, less grasping, softens into peace. Next, virtue, sail, the integrity that keeps the mind clean through ethical choices. This perfection is about harmony, avoiding harm, preserving clarity. Visualize a moment of restraint, choosing honesty over convenience, or refraining from retaliation. See the strength in boundaries, the relief of wholeness. The document notes virtue as preserving mental purity. Let this settle, releasing any day's discord. Virtue builds trust in self, fostering wholeness where actions align with values. Feel the stability. No hidden guilt, just a clear heart ready for rest. Renunciation, nakahama, follows. The joy of simplicity in letting go. Often misunderstood as loss, it's the power of willing release. Visualize dropping a burden, a possession, habit, or craving, stepping away with lightness. The document emphasizes the freedom from needing. Feel the breath deepen, space expand. Renunciation counters attachment, creating wholeness by embracing enoughness. Rest in simplicity, the mind, unweighted, invites stillness. Wisdom, pana, illuminates through clear seeing. Visualize a confusing situation met with understanding, piercing illusion, knowing conditioned nature. Feel the light cutting fog, truth undefended. The document sees wisdom as recognizing reality. Let this insight rest, dissolving confusion. Wisdom builds wholeness by aligning with truth, not concepts. Sense the calm, no more struggling against what is. Energy, varya, is steady persistence, not forceful push. Visualize meeting difficulty with resolve, continuing without aggression. Feel the unwavering power, quiet and sustained. The document notes energy as balanced effort. Let this invigorate without tension. Energy counters laziness, creating wholeness through commitment. Rest in its flow, the mind, energized yet calm. Patience, khanti, endures without anxiety. Visualize waiting with acceptance, an unresolved feeling, uncertain situation, remaining steady. Feel the strength in non-control. The document portrays patience as softening the heart. Let this open you. Patience counters impatience, building wholeness by embracing time. Sense the ease, no rush, just being. Truthfulness, sikha, is being authentic, not just speaking honestly. Visualize vulnerable honesty, revealing without winning. Feel the steadiness of non-hiding. The document sees truth as alignment. Let this tone the body. Truth counters deception, fostering wholeness through integrity. Rest in stability, no masks, just presence. Determination, adhithana, commits despite uncertainty. Visualize recommitting to a path meeting fear, continuing from clarity. Feel the remembrance of purpose. The document notes determination as inner vow. Let this deepen confidence. Determination counters wavering, creating wholeness through resolve. Sense the rootedness, no drift, just direction. Loving kindness, metta, offers unwavering goodwill. Visualize wishing safety and peace to all loved, neutral, difficult. Feel the warmth spreading. The document emphasizes metta as holding without boundaries. Let this care fill the chest. Loving kindness counters ill will, building wholeness through connection. Rest in softness, not division, just care. Equanimity, pechka, balances amid change. Visualize standing in joy, sorrow, gain, loss, steady, not distant. Feel the witness without collapse. The document sees equanimity as peace in flux. Let this become resting place. Equanimity counters bias, fostering wholeness through equality. Sense the openness, all embraced, nothing shaken. Cultivating paramos invokes wholeness. Each quality a thread weaving the heart complete. The document promises mind less fragmented, more full. Scarcity dissolves, anxiety eases. No perfection, invoke nightly, one or all, letting essence resonate. Visualize vividly, feel embodiment. Over time, qualities shape you, softer reactions, kinder presence. This completes the 10 invocation for maturity. The document notes they counter lack, leading to unburdened sleep, wholeness from heart strength, rest as continuation. Cultivate, pre-sleep, invoke each, rest in silence they create. Promise wholeness, perfect peace blooms. Embracing stillness for a transformed life. As we conclude this journey through ancient Buddhist wisdom, it's clear that the path to peaceful sleep and inner silence is not about forcing the mind into submission, but about cultivating a gentle, aware relationship with it. The core messages woven throughout these teachings, drawn from timeless practices used by monks and meditators for millennia, reveal that mental noise, restlessness, and suffering are not inescapable curses, but conditioned patterns we can trace, release, and transform. At the heart lies equanimity, the balanced awareness that neither clings nor rejects, allowing thoughts to pass like clouds in a vast sky. We've explored how to discover the subtle inner hum as a gateway to presence, unravel the chains of dependent origination to free ourselves from craving's grip, confront the 5 hindrances and the inner saboteur with compassionate recognition, navigate the shifting realms of the mind, integrate dreams for subconscious healing, abandon deep taints through practical methods, ground ourselves with the earth's unwavering support, and invoke the 10 perfections to nurture wholeness. Together, these tools shift our nights from battles against insomnia to sacred spaces of surrender, where sleep arrives naturally as the mind learns it's safe to let go. The true essence of these practices is their invitation to wholeness, a state where the fragmented self reunites, no longer divided by fear, desire, or illusion. Remember, the struggle with sleeplessness often stems from the mind's over-effort to control what it cannot, the unfolding of rest. By observing thoughts with balanced awareness, trusting the body's innate rhythm, and letting go of ego-driven identities, you create the conditions for healing. The inner hum reminds us that silence is alive with presence, not empty. Backward contemplation shows suffering as a traceable chain we can break. Meditation on impurity transforms desire into wisdom. Facing hindrances and shadows integrates our depths. Navigating realms teaches impermanence. Dreamwork heals hidden scripts. Abandoning taints cleanses perception. Grounding affirms belonging. And the perfections build a heart of unshakable virtues. These aren't quick fixes but lifelong companions, guiding you to see that peace is not a distant goal but your natural state when unobstructed. To walk this path positively, start small and consistently. Each night, choose one practice, perhaps a few breaths of equanimity or a gentle acknowledgement of the day's residues, and apply it with kindness toward yourself. View challenges not as failures, but as invitations to deeper understanding. Every restless moment is a chance to observe, release, and grow. Embrace positive thinking by reframing. Instead of "I can't sleep," affirm "I am learning to allow rest." Direct your energy toward gratitude for the body's resilience, the mind's capacity for change, and the earth's silent support. This mindset shifts you from victim of noise to empowered navigator, fostering optimism that transformation is possible. Remember the Buddha's example. He didn't conquer through force, but through steady presence and truth. You too can cultivate this. Choose peace over chaos, stillness over striving, and wholeness over division. As you integrate these teachings, your inner world will shift. Nights become healing, days more mindful, and life a continuous unfolding of freedom. Make the promise to yourself, starting tonight: I choose peace, I choose silence, I am calm. Let this intention guide you, sending a message to your heart and nervous system that enough is enough. It's time for stillness. Reflect on what resonated most and carry it forward with positive resolve. You are enough as you are, capable of this path. May your practice lead to the rest you've always sought, a quiet mind and a life of profound wholeness.